you guys. It's Friday.
It's birthday
and
video.
It's Tom's birthday.
Yeah, already had a cake.
Well, not a whole, he didn't eat a whole cake.
Rolls. Had a good cake, man. Good birthday cake. Got it from Publix Bakery. It was
They make the best cakes.
Strawberry and peach.
Yeah, what is it? It's called Strawberry Peach
Chantilly?
Sensation or something. I don't remember what the name of
good.
it is. And it's got like it's got kiwi and grapes on it too.
Grapes on it, fresh fruit on it, and it's got the frosting is just like basically whipped cream.
Yeah,
white whipped cream.
Yeah.
So it's not real sweet. Cake is white,
and there's a lot of fruit on it, and there's fruit in the middle too.
Yeah. So you can eat a lot of it. You don't get sick of it. Like if it's a butter and fucking icing sugar based. Fucking
although I like those too.
Yeah,
but you can't eat a big hunk of it.
Can't eat a big hunk of it. It gets too fucking sweet. You can eat all of this cake. You're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good.
It is, yeah. That was I don't know, because we always get cakes from the Publix bakery because there's Publix right there and their cakes are all excellent.
Yeah,
like we've gotten a bunch of different kinds over the years. But the weird thing with the Publix where we used to live, we always, every birthday, you always wanted the one that was like lemon and strawberry.
Yeah, lemon strawberry's gone now.
But for some reason, I don't know if they still have it at our old Publix, but they don't have it at this new one.
Yeah,
like they seem like they don't have as many.
We plugged the shit out of fucking Publix. They owe me some shit. They owe me free.
Sponsored by Publix.
Sponsored by Publix.
Seriously,
they don't give me shit.
Except delicious cake. I got you a delicious cake.
I know, we had to pay for it though, see?
Well, yeah.
All this cake we're selling, advertising cake. That's what everybody's doing.
Yeah, and we went to Momiji, had a really nice, you had sushi, and I had some steak and shrimp hibachi. It was delicious.
DJ Maniac's in, Dom the Bomb's in there, Camp Guy, Glenn Little. Tammy's showed up. She's, happy birthday, thank you. Danny Rollyface is in there, everybody's saying, wishing me happy birthday, thank you very much. Murder Hornet singing about apple bottom jeans. That was a long time ago, dude. Apple bottom jeans and the Birds of the Fur. You need to start listening to some new music. So, okay. All right. We are started 8 minutes ago. We're good to go. We're drinking, but probably drink lightly.
Well, that's...
I'm going to have to drive.
Yeah, we're planning on going to Mannequins, after the show. That's why we're all pretty.
Yeah.
Well, you're always pretty.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit prettier than normal.
No, she got one of the club outfit on.
Yeah. I got corset on too, but it's not tightened yet. I just kind of put it on
sitting down for a couple hours.
Yeah, because it's not too bad. But if you sit for a long time, in it gets kind of uncomfortable. So when I go to the club, I don't sit. I just stand up the whole time.
Yeah.
It's much better.
So let's see what everybody's doing. Veronica's in. Thank you.
Yeah, little pieces of cake and everything wishing me
happy birthday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's basically that's all we did today.
That's the only thing going on.
We just did your birthday thing today.
No, I'm not on Flocka. Murder Hornet saying Tom's already on Flocka. I'm not on Flocka. If I was on Flocka, I'd be dancing. He might be dance.
Well, now you're doing it.
No, I'm not gonna do the Flocka dance. No. I'm not so poor where I gotta fucking do Flocka.
Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it anyway. I mean, you know, even if I was really poor, I'd be like, I've seen some videos of people doing that.
I don't know why you want to. I wouldn't spend a dime on that shit.
Why would you want to
act like a crazy motherfucker?
Well, I guess it's fun for them, when they're on it. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. It's just making yourself look like that for other people. I guess they don't really care.
I don't know if that's the normal Flocka high or if that's the Flocka overdose high, or what. Or
I don't know enough about it.
Maybe they're getting dehydrated and their brains are frying or something, and they do that. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be that millions of people do Flocka and act like
you never know.
More or less normal.
More or less normal. That might be a Flocka overdose or something. Y'all who have done Flocka, you could drop in the comment section. Tell us what's wrong. What happens when a person does that? Is that the normal Flocka high? I don't think it is. Or you'd see it everywhere.
Yeah, you'd think just see people walking down the street doing the weird fucking.
And they got the famous what happened, Puga?
What happened?
You know, she jumped up and ran. Brr. Got the famous video of the dude fucking in the parking lot freaking the fuck out. And they're trying to hold him down. They got the black chick screaming behind the camera. Go, give him some milk. Give him some milk. They some fucking meme master fucking lifted that fucking woman's voice going, give him some milk. And would just like, anytime somebody gets fucked up, they fucking mix in, give him some milk. Dude gets eaten by a shark and you hear the voice, give him some milk. Just funny, man. Fucking love these dudes.
Wasn't that one like Flocka one? Wasn't the dude like kind of like scooting like across the parking lot?
Doing a crab crawl. Yeah, he's going, what?
You know like how how like how your dog like scoots across the carpet sometimes. Yeah. He was kind of doing that, but on the asphalt.
Yeah.
And like, so everybody was kind of gathered around, like somebody was filming him. Obviously, it was like they were just gathered. They was like, "Dude, yeah, you all right?" And he's just like, like his eyes bugging out, like scooting across.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I felt kind of bad for him." I wonder if he saw that the next day. I was like, "Oh man."
That was all in. That was all in the Florida Flocka craze.
Oh man.
That was during the time where the guy ate the other dudes. The two naked guys ate each other's faces.
Now, see, did they ever find any drugs on that guy though?
They said no, but I just didn't know what to test for.
Maybe not. Something. Maybe it was like some weird like exotic drug that they didn't test for.
I think it was Flocka.
Because I mean, there are some fucked up people in the world, but there are very few people that would just like eat someone else's face just like in broad daylight like that.
It's hot here in Florida. Well, across the street from a fucking hospital, in between a couple of concrete barriers, in between two oncoming traffic, the little barriers that they have. Two bums fucking jumped down in there high on Flocka. I guess they were bums. Stripped down naked, started having sex, and then they started fighting, and one dude ate the other dude's face right in front of the hospital. Only in Florida. And then they thought it was a damn zombie outbreak.
And then the one guy who was having his face eaten was like, well, hey, we were just having sex. I thought you liked me.
Yeah. I don't know if they were having sex. They took the clothes off because it was hot. And then they started having sex. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what knows.
I don't know what happened.
It's like I said,
it's a hell of a drug.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think I've said this before, but you know, I'm not saying that the Florida man meme that there isn't something behind it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that there's crazy people in every state. It's just that Florida has those sunshine laws where like you get arrested for something, it's like public. You know, everybody can look it up. Like not every state has that.
Oh, they got YouTube channels saying who got arrested. Yeah. Here. Yeah. The sheriff will say tell everybody what you did and everything.
Yeah, it's public record.
They public fucking shame you.
I mean, as long as you're not a juvenile.
Right.
Like, even though it's like, you know, obviously. But, yeah, if you're an adult and you get arrested for whatever, it's public knowledge. You can just look it up online.
Yeah.
So I think that because all states don't have that, then obviously...
You know how
most of the shit that comes up is going to be like Florida. I've heard like Arizona. I've heard like they have a bunch of crazy shit happen in there too. I think maybe they have like the same kind of law. If anybody's from Arizona, they can let me know.
That one sheriff who has the state puts him up there to publicly shame everybody that gets arrested for that week. It's a good channel. Like it comes up in my suggested feeds sometimes when I watch it on YouTube. And he's just a good old boy, Southern Baptist type sheriff, and he's funny because he'll pull up a picture of some dude, you know, and he goes, here's Jonathan. Jonathan got arrested for calling them little girls on the telephone. You know, that kind of shit like that. Meeting them online. He said he wanted to get inside their panties. And it's funny, you know, the guys, he goes, you know, just
like he told them that to their face.
He said it online, you know.
Oh, he said it online.
Yeah, but they'll leave a lot of the details in. He told her that he had special feelings for her, and that he wanted to put his willy up inside his, you know, just this.
Real special.
They'll go right in. It goes right into it. You know what I mean? And you hear people. You hear people giggling in the background for some of the embarrassing shit that these dudes get caught for. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's very effective. It's very Southern. You could tell that, you know, it's like some shit they would do in church. But it's crimes. Talking about it's crimes. It's serious, you know.
Thank you, Aaron. Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you very much for the $20 birthday.
Thank you very, very much.
I'm getting my birthday presents.
It's your birthday presents.
Yeah.
Pookie brought him a birthday present earlier today.
Yeah, it was a piece of leather. I was like, well, thank you.
She brings it. I don't even. It to me. Where did it come from? I never saw it before.
It was the leather strap that has a snap on it, and it was to secure my charging cable. I have those extra long deluxe charging cables.
She had it in her mouth, and she came up to, and she was like, put it down. And she's like, burr, 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 burr.
I was like, thank you. It's like, here, I brought you this.
That's for you.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
She's so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing about that, like, as long as they're not making fun of the victims and stuff like that, I don't have a problem at all with them, like, making fun of. Well, didn't they used to have, I kind of feel like, they probably still have these, but I kind of feel like on Fox or something like that, they used to have shows where, like, World's Dumbest Criminals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, sometimes he gets real serious depending on
what it is. I don't necessarily know if I'd feel super comfortable like laughing at somebody who's like, "Hey, he murdered an 8-year-old."
No,
you know what I mean? That's not cool.
No, and he'll be casting all kinds of dispersions. He's a real high quality human being. This one, he did this and that, and then we got him locked up for life, so you'll never see this scumbag again. Hope he rots in hell. That kind of shit. So and it's a sheriff.
Yeah.
Well,
can't blame him.
Well, who's going to defend the dude?
Yeah.
He got found guilty, man? Doing shit,
Yeah, you did the shit.
We don't have to worry about this piece of garbage anymore. Just fucking throw the fucking case file in the back. Okay, the next one is, we took care of that one.
We took care of that one.
That. We took care of that one.
Danny Rolling says Discopath. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I swear to God.
What's a Discopath?
It's a movie, like a Neo Giallo kind of movie. It's a slasher. Can't wait for that review. With that being said, what other Giallo films are you going to review, Jenny? Okay, so this month, I don't. It's not spoiling it, I guess. Tomorrow I'm doing a few like Neo Giallos, like newer ones. Like I'm doing one called Francesca that came out in 2015. I'm doing one called Strange Color of Your Body's Tears from 2013, I think it was, which is like they're made to like look like old Giallos. And then I'm doing Dario Argento's The Cat o' Nine Tails because I haven't done that one yet. I'm doing New York Ripper, which is Lucio Fulci. Now some of these might change depending on whatever my mood is. I might do Strip Nude for Your Killer. I might do Death Walks on High Heels or Death Walks at Midnight. I might do Case of the Bloody Iris, and I might do Knife of Ice. But like I said, don't hold me to that because sometimes like when the week comes, I'm just kind of like, oh, I'd rather do this one instead or something else comes up. You know what I mean? But those are the ones that I'm planning on at the moment. So now you know.
Man, Murder Hornet says, like the guy with the drugs that took it to the cops to test it and see if it was real. That vaguely, I think I vaguely remember that.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Took it to the cops to have it tested to see if it was real.
Yeah.
That's
you know what? That might have happened more than once.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, they do shit like that.
I mean, some people aren't the brightest bulbs on the tree. Let's call it that.
Yeah, then there was Disney Apocalypse a few months back. That's where fucking state police went after fucking Disney and got like 10 Disney employees, all of them pedos. Have the evidence and everything. Fucking, and they were publicly shaming Disney. Like, these people are around your children, Fucking, and
the thing about it is
they're
that
working at Disney.
Well, pedophiles, I mean, that's kind of their whole thing. They will kind of gravitate toward jobs like, daycare or church, Catholic church or whatever. Yep. They want to be somewhere that's like around kids. Like, that's what they do, so.
Well, I ain't going to get into it with Disney, I guess. They were catching them and letting them go, sending them back to whatever country they came from, too. They shamed them about that. They tried to grab one guy who molested that 12-year-old girl in the elevator. She ran and told her parents. And Disney security got the guy, and instead of arresting him, they sent him back to the country he came from because he was a foreigner.
Like I said, that's like some Catholic Church kind of shit
Catholic
there.
Church shit.
Hey, we'll just move him somewhere else.
Yeah. And Florida State Police wanted him. They had a warrant and everything, and fucking Disney protected him. They were mad about that. That's part of why the state of Florida started waging war against Disney. Another thing that fucking Disney did is they had when they first signed that fucking agreement, with Florida way back when Disney was new. Disney World was new. Was it 60s or 50s?
Disney World was opened in 1972.
72?
71, sorry.
Before it was built is when they got the permission to go do it. They cut this deal with the state of Florida. It gave them basically vast powers, the powers of an independent state. They could have their own law enforcement. They could have their own nuclear power supply. Ain't that some shit? I didn't know that. They were going to build nuclear reactors to run Disney World. They were going to actually have, remember Epcot Center?
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah. Man, that pales comparison to what they had planned to do. It was going to be a privately owned city that you could live in.
Yeah, I remember hearing about how that was kind of the plan, but then it ended up just being,
it became an amusement park.
Yeah.
That's not what it was. The city of the future was kind of like, the smart city idea concept. You could buy a piece of property in there and be in another country, basically. A city-state inside the United States boundaries. It had its own courts and everything. I don't know if it had criminal courts, but maybe it did. I don't know. But it was going to...
Not that I remember, but yeah.
But it was going to have a nuclear power plants, cops, jobs, housing, hospitals, airports. It was going to be... And it was going to be huge. It was going to be a city. But it was run by Disney. Weird when you think about it. It was going to be a parallel civilization with top-of-the-line... state-of-the-art technology for when they like video phones. That's what they were conceiving of, like televisions that you could talk to each other through. It'd be outdated by today's standards, but back in those days it was like amazing. Each house had a microwave, Each house had its own
it's like
garbage
the fucking Jetsons up in
system. Here. It was like it's what it was like. It was like something out of the Jetsons. Yeah.
John Smith says, Argento has a new Giallo out at the moment. Yes, he does, called Dark Glasses. It's not as crap as his stuff has been for the last 20 years. Well, actually, I'm glad to hear that because I have been wanting to see that, but I've been very reluctant because, I don't know, man. Like, the last good Dario Argento movie I saw, I think, was maybe Stendhal Syndrome, when was that, 96? And then after that, I remember seeing The Card Player. When did that come out?
Yeah.
I can't remember. And that was, I don't even think I finished that one. I was just watching it going, oh my God, this is so bad.
Zach, you need to bring that fucking strawberry lube.
He likes strawberry.
Strawberry lube.
Thank you, Dom the Bomb.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Tom. Have a drink on me this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Let me see them flash bulbs, people. Let me see them flash bulbs.
bulbs.
No, thank you very much. I'll drink that tonight at the club.
Yeah, he definitely will.
No, Zach's fucking with me because earlier today on Messenger or on Facebook, it was on Facebook, he wished me a happy birthday, and I said thank you. I said, you ready to give up some of that ass? And he's like, yeah, what kind of lube you want me to bring? I just started laughing. Yeah, I'm getting some ass from Zach for my birthday.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
Just what you always wanted.
Got his knee pads with him and everything.
Flavored lubes. Do you know what? You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of, I don't know if this is still what it was, but back when I was in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, when I was in the UK, in the train stations, and they have all those vending machines. It's like, hey, get some tea or coffee or chocolate bars or whatever. And they had a condom machine.
Yeah.
Like in the train stations, and I swear to God that some of them were like flavored. So they had strawberry flavor, and the other flavor was, guess what it was?
Damn.
Curry.
No. Damn.
It was a curry flavor. I shit you not. It was a curry flavored condom, and I kind of want.
England?
Yeah, well, Wales. Yeah. I kind of wanted to get it just because I thought it was so funny.
That's ridiculous.
But I was just kind of like, I don't know why strawberry is not weird and curry is weird, but I'd never seen a curry flavored condom before, and I was just kind of like, all right.
It'd be like Americans making the shit chili flavored. Over in Texas, they're gonna make fucking chili flavored.
You know what? It would not shock me at all if they didn't have some like chili, habanero.
Yeah.
Habanero condoms. Yeah. I don't think that's a good idea.
And I look like Danzig off the mother. I'm bigger than that bitch now. I'm fucking bigger than him. I'm just not fucking pumped right now. I go in there and just fucking do some curls. You'd see I'm bigger than that bitch. Especially when I'm on cycle. But no, he was. I like to fuck with Danzig, make fun of him and shit. But no, Danzig was a great artist. He could sing and he could write good lyrics. His show was fucking on point back in the day. It's just he's still good, still real good. It's just hard to be a Satanist in a world full of fucking atheists nowadays. You know.
Yeah, everyone's just like,
yeah. And
no one's shocked anymore.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what he did to himself. He's funny looking now. And it's not age. I think he was taking HGH. His head looks big. Something's wrong with his face. I don't know what happened to him. HGH, I think.
So maybe, it might be a combination. I don't know. I'm speculating, but it might be a combination of like some kind of weird hormone therapy and maybe plastic surgery. Gone wrong.
Doesn't look like any plastic surgery.
I mean, I haven't seen him lately, so I can't really say.
His face looks slightly distorted, and his face looks a little distorted, and that's kind of a sign of improper usages of fucking HGH, human growth hormone. That's what it looks like.
John Smith says it's still pretty crap. Talking about the Dario Argento movie, just not as crap. Well, you know, you got to take what you can get nowadays with Dario. He's old, though he has Asia in it and doesn't have her naked. Yeah, that's odd. His habit of having her nude in his movies is a bit odd. Yeah, I always thought that was really weird too. And honestly, I think on Flickers of Fear, like last month or the month before, I did Trauma. And that was the first movie that he had done with Asia, and I think she was only 16 at the time. And she played like an anorexic because she was like really, really skinny. And there was a scene in particular where like the guy, like the protagonist is like walking by the bathroom and she's like putting a thing like around her boobs like to flatten them out because she wanted to look like really skinny. And I was like, okay, Dad, it's like I don't think I'd be in a movie with my dad being the director and like show him like my boobs when I was 16, but you know, it's Italy, they have a different thing, I guess. And then in Stendhal Syndrome, which Asia was also in, she gets like very, very violently raped in that movie in like a really, really uncomfortable scene, and I'm just like, I can't even imagine what it must be like on that set. It's so strange.
I don't think topless means anything to Europeans at that time.
No, it doesn't, but it's just still, I mean, it's still weird.
Yeah.
To us, it's weird. I don't like, to them, it doesn't really seem to be weird.
Yeah, and the whole thing of putting your daughter in there as a sex symbol, that'd fly with the fucking old school Italians. You know, they were just like, oh yeah, we're gonna make some money. Oh yeah, go be a star. You know, you're gonna be a star.
Well, I always thought Asia was pretty hot. Actually,
it's just I don't remember, but she just it was just I think it was just a way of making his daughter famous. It was like
he had another daughter too, didn't he? Like Fiore.
I don't know.
I thought it was a
lot of maniacs. Older. A lot of European maniacs had daughters. Like fucking Klaus Kinski's daughter, fucking Natasha. I fucking always thought she was smoking hot.
She is, yeah.
It turned out fucking Klaus was fucking raping one of the other daughters.
Yeah.
Evidently, I don't know if he got.
I mean, allegedly. I'm not really sure, but
allegedly, that's according to her.
Heard that. Yeah,
according to her. I don't know about Natasha, but he was putting Natasha in some of his movies too. Yeah. I don't think it was his own movies. It was other people's movies, wasn't it? She was in Cat People. I don't think Klaus Kinski had anything to do with Cat People.
No, that was her and what's his Malcolm McDowell was in that. I don't remember who directed the Cat People remake. Because that's a remake. That movie's from the 1940s.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, well, the original's good too if you've never seen it. Like that's probably my favorite horror movie from the 1940s. Is Cat People. John Borman directed his daughter in a rape scene also. Yeah, that's right.
Louis Hernandez says, I saw Danzig back in 96, I think. He said it was great. Yeah, it was. I saw it for, I think it must have been 96 also. When I saw it. It was for the, maybe it wasn't 96, no.
Thank you, Dermot.
Yeah, thanks, Dermot. I'll be drinking that up.
Flashbulbs.
I'll drink that up tonight.
Don't get excited. Don't. I think he's like, woohoo! I'm gonna drink it all.
I think I saw him in the How the Gods Kill tour. So that must have been. I was still in the army, so that must have been 93, something like that. And it was great. It was one of the best shows I ever saw. Saw it at Venus de Milo, in Boston, downtown Boston, right near fucking Fenway Park. That was called Fenway. Yeah, I think it was over there near Kenmore. But I think is what the name of that stop was. Anyway, they had Venus de Milo and Axis. It was fucking clubs right there near the baseball stadium. Saw him in there. Fucking show was fucking mind blowing. I was right up front, man. The stage came up to my chest, and next to me were 3 college girls from college freshman girls from Japan. They were in their fucking 1950s style bobby sock, fucking little skirts and shit, just like something out of the 1950s. Because that's the way Japanese girls looked like back then. Teenagers, they were just loving it, and we were getting crushed from the pressure of everybody behind us.
I remember those days.
They were laughing. They were laughing, you know. The girls, and I was like, yeah, right now, yeah. They could barely speak any English. I don't know how they got in, but just the way they were.
I remember those days. Remember the mosh pits and all that other kind of stuff.
Like that.
I remember many a day, like back in my day. Yeah. Back in my day, you'd go to the shows, and then like everybody'd go to Denny's afterward, and somebody's head would be busted open, and like you'd be sitting there eating pancakes, and like somebody's head was bleeding.
Opening act was Typo Negative.
Yeah, right.
That's who opened for me. It was good.
Yeah.
Typo Negative is good too.
They're a good band. I don't usually like that kind. I usually like that gothic metal thing, but
it was better than a lot of other shit that was around at the time.
That's true. That's true. I have more appreciation for them as I got older. At the time, I wasn't really into it, but you know. John Smith said, "I think Argento is the same age as Cronenberg. Some guys got it, some guys don't." Yeah, I mean, the thing that's cool about Cronenberg, and you know, Brandon Cronenberg, his son, is also doing his own weird ass shit, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Cronenberg's latest movie, Crimes of the Future, is pretty fucking great, and it's just, you know, it's just like a lot, like, you know, his old stuff. Dario, like I said, it's hit and miss. Like, he did some good shit in there, but then he did like The Card Player. He did that Dracula thing that he did. Oh my god, that was awful. I think he watched that with me.
Which one?
Dario Argento's. It was Dracula, right?
Yeah, that wasn't that good.
Was that the one that had the giant praying mantis? Like the CGI praying mantis or something?
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That one. No, I don't remember. I vaguely remember. I think it did have.
That was like years ago. I think Shauna told us to watch that. She's like, "This is the most batshit insane thing you've ever seen," and I was like, "Okay, I gotta watch it."
Don the Bomb said that Klaus Kinski was a shitty father. That's not the only thing he was shitty at. That dude was a shitty dude. He was crazy,
completely insane.
Nobody could work with him.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes people like that. Like, he was a great actor, and he's always like entertaining to watch. So there's that, I guess. But I always wonder, like, what's going on in their heads, though? Like, how do they justify to themselves, like, acting that way?
Crazy.
I guess you'd have to be.
Yeah.
You'd have to be.
Yeah, just because you're crazy doesn't mean you can't be an actor.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that.
You can be crazy and be a surgeon. You can be crazy.
I know. I'm just like wondering what goes on in their heads, though. That fascinates me. Like what's their thought process?
Total pure solipsism and egoism.
Yeah.
You know, totally.
Everything's
I'm
about
gonna make
me.
this money. I'm gonna make this movie my own way. Fuck this director.
Everyone is an obstruction.
Yeah. Fuck the script. Fuck all these other people. You know. Fuck the story. I'm gonna do it my way.
I'm Klaus motherfucking Kinski.
That's right.
I'm king of the fucking world.
I don't need a script. Just, you know, cut me loose and I'll make a movie with you. You know, that's the thinking. I decide how this movie's gonna be.
Well, he probably thought to himself, well, they wouldn't have hired me if they didn't want my expertise.
Shit. Yeah.
So, which I'm sure is probably how he thought of it.
Well, you know, to be honest, they said Marlon Brando's a bit like that.
I had heard that as well. I don't think he's as bad as Klaus Kinski, but
it could have been guys like Klaus Kinski thought they were Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Probably what it was. Because Brando could act. He could fucking act his ass off. He was crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, sometimes if you're really super talented and you're always in demand and nobody ever like slaps the shit out of you and tells you, hey, you're not that great. We can always get somebody else that's almost as good and we're not going to cry about it. Yeah. So their egos get like out of control and there's like, well, they just have to put up with whatever bullshit I shovel out just because, you know, because I'm like the best or whatever.
Brando wasn't really like that though. He was just kind of a, from everything I've heard about him, he wasn't really that much of a prima donna either. It's just that he was idiosyncratic. Although if you put him on a project, he wouldn't phone it in. He'd deliver. You know. He wasn't bullshitting. But Klaus Kinski was kind of bullshitting. You know. They put him in movies because he was weird, and he could do that.
Yeah.
That's what he was. But that's what he was. He could do that.
Just be Klaus.
Right. Klaus Kinski could never be the Godfather. He could never be Signore Corleone.
Can you imagine?
He could never do that.
Now I'm picturing the Godfather with Klaus Kinski.
Yeah. He could never play Colonel Kurtz. You know, Kinski couldn't do that kind of shit.
But you want crazy.
Yeah.
That's the dude you call.
Right.
You want somebody that's like peeking at you through your door, your keyhole. Yeah. Like in crawl space.
Yeah, he was good in that. He could play a sadist or a fucking vampire.
Or a vampire.
Or a pervert. Or some kind of serial killer.
He found his niche.
Yeah.
Somebody's recommending the documentary My Best Fiend. Yeah, that is actually really good. It's Werner Herzog made it. Yeah. And it's about him and Klaus Kinski. Their volatile relationship, let's call it that. Yeah. Very, very contentious relationship. But
there's more to Werner Herzog though than there is Klaus Kinski, I think. Werner is kind of more along the lines of Marlon Brando. You know, he could bring gravitas.
Well, and he's actually not even known for acting. He's known for directing. You know what I mean?
He's good in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah.
It's like you're seeing somebody important. You know. Although Klaus kind of does that, but you know he's crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Louis says Brando was just lazy. He thought acting was beneath him. He did it for the money.
Yeah. But he did do his job, though.
Yeah.
He did do his job. He did a great Godfather. Did good in fucking Colonel Kurtz. He was good in the Wild One. Everything I've seen him in, he was good. But the thing is fucking he spent a lot. He was high a lot of times. He'd do weird shit and.
That was probably true of a lot, especially in the 60s and 70s, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It was probably really difficult to get people to, like, show up on set.
Yeah.
You know, like, look at, like, fucking Oliver Reed and people like that. It's like they'd show up and they'd be, like, smashed out of their minds.
Yeah, he was the kind of guy that you'd find, you know, you'd go to his house somewhere and you'd find him, he'd living on the floor. Fucking beanbags and shit. So you're here. Can you get me a pizza? It's a guy like that. Yeah. I haven't eaten in days. I need.
There's like dirty dishes and like old like Chinese food containers laying on the fucking floor. No one's taken the garbage out or cleaned anything. And
you go, I like pepperoni on my pizza. Do you like pepperoni on your pizza? Then get 2. That's the kind of shit he would do. That's how I'm imagining it. That's how I'm channeling it. Yeah. Right.
John Smith says the famous quote is about Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski. I didn't love him. I didn't hate him. We respected each other whilst plotting each other's murders. Yeah. It is very interesting. Danny Rowling said Sid and Marty Krofft had to be high to come up with HR Puffin stuff. Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, everybody was high back then. Pretty much everybody.
The Monkees.
I mean, everything, like you see kids shows from the 60s and 70s.
Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
I used to love that, though. Yeah. I love that Sea Monster.
Definitely acid inspired.
Oh, big time.
Fucking Rip Torn, or is it Rip Taylor? Rip Taylor. Isn't it that?
The one with the one with the confetti.
Yeah. He's
that's always like throwing the confetti.
He's just the gayest.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, it's like I remember Rip Taylor, but I better remember like MST parodying him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, Rip Taylor was on Sigmund and the Sea Monster, remember?
He was, yeah. Well, he was on Hollywood Squares a lot too.
Yeah.
He always had confetti.
Rip Taylor would show up and he's in a green outfit, like he was. What was he? A sea hag or a sea witch? Or a sea
something.
He would come from.
Now I kind of want to watch that again. And I used to love that when I was a kid.
And he would use magic to fix some shit, fucking repair all the problems, and then he'd go back to the ocean. It was kind of like, man, why do you bring this shit up to me, man? It's just
because it's Sidetracks.
Yeah, it's Sidetracks.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah. You couldn't get any gayer than Rip Taylor. No way.
True.
No way. I mean, can you think of anybody gayer than that?
Was Paul Lynde gayer?
Much gayer than Paul Lynde. Much gayer.
Yeah.
He was taking it.
Paul Lynde didn't have confetti.
Yeah.
In his pockets at all times. Zach
If you've never seen Rip Taylor fucking on, just go. You'll see him on YouTube. Just the old Queen and just flaming. And he's the kind of motherfucker that would show up in a wig, look dressed like Maud or something. You know, he looked like
with like a turban and shit.
Wig and they were like some billowy shit. And he'd fucking have a magic wand and throw some fucking glitter on you and shit. Say something fucking funny and slap you. You know what I mean? And he had a big old fucking mustache. He didn't have a mustache. He had a mustache.
Yeah, he did have a big mustache.
Yeah.
Zach said, I don't like Rip Taylor. He's too gay.
Yeah, exactly. Zach don't think he's too gay.
That's pretty bad when you're too
gay. Yeah,
you
see those, like, you see them pride parades, as ridiculous as those dudes can get on those pride parades with some of the weird shit that they're doing. That was nothing, really, you know what I mean, compared to Rip Taylor. Rip Taylor, they're all copying Rip Taylor. That's what they're doing. They're trying to be him.
Well, I mean, once someone's raised the bar that high, it's just kind of like it's kind of hard to like meet that standard.
Yeah. the difference is this. Okay. Man, I'm forgetting the names, confused.
Are you all right? Do you have Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I got the Alzheimer's.
He's got the Alzheimer's.
Did you talk about the Hollywood Square? What was the other guy from the Hollywood Square? He's fucking great.
Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't compare Paul Lynde to Rip Taylor.
That's true. There's
no way. Paul Lynde had a very intense intelligence. His wit was fucking super, super quick. He was fucking funny, and he's the kind of guy you could go to a club with. You know, like I could go to the club with fucking Paul with Taylor.
And he would just have like really snarky, like bitchy
and I'd be laughing
put downs
the whole
for every single person,
time.
but they'd be like really like intelligent.
They'd be
ones.
real fucking good, and he'd be fucking hilarious. All right, you couldn't really do that with Taylor. Would drive you fucking crazy. He's like, oh,
I kind of feel like he'd have to be like the center of attention all the time. Yeah. I mean, the confetti that kind of like gives it away.
Right.
The minute you like barge into a room and start throwing confetti around and yelling, that's
yelling
the minute.
And throwing confetti.
That's the minute I'm just kind of like, nope.
Yeah. You get sick of him quick.
Cause I don't mind, like you know me. I'm not real into like people that are like, hey, pay attention to me.
Yeah. Well, that was his shtick.
Yeah.
That was his shtick.
Mostly that just like gets someone.
He was a comedian.
Nervous.
He was a comedian.
Yeah.
Comedian and actor, but I think mostly just comedian. And he was on Sigma and the Sea Monster. We grew up with him, and I was a little kid, and I said, yeah, he's gay, and he couldn't even fool a little kid. I could tell.
I haven't seen Sigma and the Sea Monster for such a long time.
Yeah.
All those like somebody talked about the banana splits too, like how he had to be like on a fucking acid for that.
Acid, banana splits.
I was thinking this to myself the other day when I was watching, because I don't know if you guys know, if you go on the Riff Tracks channel and sometimes like on Tubi too. They not only do full-length movies, they also do, like, educational shorts.
Yeah.
And some of the educational shorts from, like, the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I'm like, what the fuck were they smoking back then? Making this. It's like, who was this made for? Like, what even is this? It's just, like, the crazy... The ones from the 70s are the craziest. Like, I saw the one the other day where they were trying to... I guess it was like trying to get kids to make crafts out of like grass. You know what I mean? And they were making like masks and like fucking, I was just kind of like, who made this? And why would you make this? And who paid for this? And I was just kind of like, I didn't get it. I don't know who was watching it. I can imagine some like little kids like me, because I went to school in the 70s. I probably saw it when I was a kid growing up, and I'd be like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" I don't know. I'm not enough drugs for this. Camp Guy says, "Great Liberace movie, Behind the Candelabra. I've heard of that, but I've never seen it. Michael Douglas plays Liberace, and Matt Damon is his gay lover. You know what? I might need to see that because I'd heard that was good, actually."
Gene got back to me and sent me that picture. That was one of my high school girlfriends. I said, "You got to send me a picture of your tattoo. Look at that."
Right. Yeah.
In high school.
Oh, okay.
This was. I showed her a picture before. We were talking about that in the last show. That was Jean. She had a Black Widow spider tattooed on the back of her shoulder. That was 1980.
7.
Well, you have to think
she was way ahead of her time.
I mean, yeah, nowadays that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's like...
a high school girl with that? Goth high school girl?
I mean, when I first started getting tattoos in 1990 or whatever it was, I had tattoo artists tell me, well, why do you want them on your arms?
Yeah.
Because it's like...
Everybody will see.
Because everybody will see them.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you want them somewhere where you'll, like, can cover them up or something? I'm like, okay. Because I think there was still, in 1990, at least where I grew up in Florida, there was still a perception that if you had tattoos where people could see them, then that meant you were, like, a slut or a druggie or something like that. I don't really know what they thought. But yeah.
Who cares what they thought? We do what we wanted to do anyway.
That's what I mean. I was just kind of like, why don't you just, like, I'm paying you, so why don't you just put it where I want you to put it? How about that? You know what I mean?
I was looking up Rip Taylor, and the first thing that they said was fucking confetti.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like his thing, man.
Rip Taylor doing the confetti. Yeah, there's no little clips of him. See if I could try to get a picture of him.
John Smith says, most messed up educational film, The ABCs of Sex Education for Trainables, a film to teach the birds and bees to intellectually handicapped people in the 70s. It's fucked up. Oh, okay, now I have to see it. Is it on YouTube?
What's that?
I'm gonna watch it.
There's Rip Taylor doing his shit. You can't really see.
Thank you, Gadgy.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Just had a curry and opened the first Stella of the day. I blame you guys.
You had one of them curry? It was a curry condom.
A curry condom. Were you here when we brought that up? I totally did not make that up because I was just kind of like, I wish I'd taken a picture of it. Actually, but nobody had cell phones back then because it was like 1995 or something. But I was just kind of like, curry condoms. Strawberries, fine, but damn, that's way too far. But yeah, so is that on? That's got to be on YouTube, right? Or something? Because that short that I was just talking about, ABCs of Sex Education for Trainables. I think I kind of have to see that. I don't know if maybe Riff Tracks will do that too. They've done some like weird ass shit, but they usually try to keep to. I don't want to say they usually try to keep to like family friendly stuff because they don't so much. Now that they're not on a network anymore, they don't really have to, hew anything. Because some of the movies they do like have nudity now and stuff like that. Because I know when they were doing MST, they were on Comedy Central and then they were on Sci-Fi, so it's like they couldn't show like nudity or swearing or anything like that. So they tried to keep things PG-13, but so I don't know if they would do something like that. But I am now kind of curious to see it. My favorite one, and I think somebody on here like recommended it, but there was one where these two kids and their dad toured the Hormel meat factory. It's like half an hour long, you know what I mean? And man, they show you everything, like every single step of the way, like how they make their meat products. And these kids are like, ooh, it's like, it's super funny. I don't know. It's just something about it like really fucking amused me. I think my favorite short that they ever did was the one about, I guess it was about like dinner time manners, and it came out like in the 1950s, and it was called A Date with Your Family, and it was very 1950s. I think even Hugh Beaumont did the voiceover, like the dad from Leave It to Beaver, and they were basically just kind of like, mom cooks everything and everybody says grace and nobody talks about anything controversial, and it's just kind of like, and it was just like so funny. It's just so fucking funny. I don't know why. I've seen it a million times and it just makes me laugh every single time. Let's see. Camp Guy said Tom needs to see the YouTube video Tallulah Gorge kayaking, one of the better videos by a channel named Christian Hayden called 500 CFS. Some of the most beautiful scenery in the world with super killer whitewater. Zach says an American condom would be ghost pepper flavored, probably. Somebody made one. Somebody's made one. Just like for a novelty, like for a gag gift or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't really understand why would you even need a flavored condom? It's just, to me, I don't know. Like I said, it just seems like a gag most of the time. Because it's like, what the fuck are they like using the flavoring? And it's just kind of like, if you're putting the flavoring on the condom, it's just like, is that going to like react badly? Am I going to have an allergic reaction to that shit? It's like in a very uncomfortable place. I don't really like the feeling. I don't like that. Louis says, I went to high school with lots of dudes with tattoos. Yeah, I mean, the weird thing about it, maybe it was just here. I don't think I knew anybody with tattoos until later. I mean, it was just kind of like I said, I started getting mine, I think, in 1990 or 1991. And
high school girls didn't have tattoos.
I didn't know anybody that had any, like, in high school. It just wasn't something that people did. But I feel like after, like, 1991, when, you know, grunge came in, like, punk got big and everything like that, then everyone was doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sly.
Thanks, Sly. I'm going to drink that up tonight.
I mean, don't drink it all.
I'm just making
Save some of it. Flashbulb. John Smith said it's on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to have to... If I remember, I'm going to, like, watch that. It's well meant, but seems to be social workers terrifying people. Oh, my God. I watched one that they did on Riff Tracks the other day that was called... I think it's just called Setting Up a Room. And it's obviously geared toward teachers, like elementary school teachers, kindergarten teachers, probably. And, like, how to set up your classroom. But the thing about it, it's like an older teacher, and I'm assuming, like, her younger assistant, and it's, like, half an hour of them just, like, wandering around this big room and, like, arranging things, and I'm just kind of like, it's, like, mind-numbing. And it's weird, too, because this was back, I don't know when it was made, it was the 70s, sometime, I'm assuming it was early 70s, and they didn't have, like, it is the brownest, like, wood grain room for a kindergarten that I've ever seen. There's, like, nothing on the walls. There's all the blocks are just, like, plain wood. None of them are painted or colorful or anything like that. Like, there's, like, little kitchen sets, like, for them to, like, figure out there's a little bedroom and a little cradle and a little kitchen where you can pretend you're cooking and shit like that. But all of it is, like, made of wood, or it's all, like, beige. Like, nothing is colorful. Like, nowadays you'd see toys and they'd be, like, super colorful. But I just thought it was very, very weird. I'm like, oh my God, everything is... I know the 70s was all very, natural and everything like that, but I was just like, holy crap. That room just looks like the most depressing shit ever. There's, like, no color in there at all. Oh my God. Zach says, one of my favorite YouTube channels is the Try channel. Oh, I've heard of that, yeah. Random Irish people trying various things, mostly food and booze, and it's hilarious. I don't know, there's just something really fascinating about channels where people who don't usually eat or drink whatever the thing is, like, eating or drinking that thing.
Oh, Gramthars here. Hey, Graham, I just showed an old picture of Jean Petrowski. Remember her? With her fucking little spider tattoo? I showed it.
Because, I mean...
Yeah, that was the only girl in high school that had a tattoo.
Well, that you knew of. Maybe some had some and it was, like, secret.
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of feel like they were maybe more stringent back then about you had to be 18. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know, at least where I was, because I think it was, like, a big deal. Like, you had to wait till you were 18. But I keep getting recommended those videos, too. It's like, hey, people from some, like, remote video somewhere, like, have cheesecake for the first time. You know what I mean?
Remember her? He remembers.
Yeah, Gramthars said we had fake IDs in Trenton. 17-year-olds had no problem getting beer and tats.
Yeah. They weren't strict on it. I guess it wasn't a thing. Nobody was complaining.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I got my first one, which has been actually this... It's not this one, because that's... My first one has been covered up by this. But I liked it, but it just, like, bled. You know what I mean? Because it was old. But I think I was 19 when I got my first one. Because I waited until I was out of high school. So, you know. Plus, it took me a long time to, like, decide what I wanted. I actually wouldn't mind having more, but I can't. They're just so expensive, man. Yeah. I wanted a whole back piece, actually. But I can't afford that shit. That's going to be, like, a fucking fuck ton of money. If I win the lottery, I'll get one. I even know what I want, but it's taken, so there's no way I'm paying for it.
She got that in Taylor. Gareth said she got that in Taylor. Those shops tattooed anyone who walked through the door. Yeah, probably right. Taylor, Michigan.
Zach says, oh, they just uploaded a video of them trying Werther's Originals. The Irish guy, the Try Guys. Or they're not Try Guys, that's a different channel. But like, yeah, he's talking about Irish guys, the Try channel.
Yeah. All right, so we got a pretty good...
Man, Werther's Originals are
good.
We
got, how long we been streaming now? About an hour, probably?
Almost.
All right, so we're warmed up. We got decent crowd in there, 35 people, which is good for our live shows because nobody watches our live shit. They watch us fucking recorded. All right, because we usually get people through the workday. But is there anything you guys want to talk about? If you have any topics you want to get onto, be it fucking unsolved mysteries or paranormal or any crime case that we covered in the past or anything you want to talk about in the future, go ahead and drop it down in the comment section. Me and Jenny will address it. In the meantime, we're just going to sit here and drink some of this up. I got to watch what I drink today because I got to drive to the bar.
I mean, that's
and then once I get to the bar, I got to drink some.
I mean, that's not for a couple hours. We're not leaving till like 9, so
right.
Don't be alarmed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we might like stop before. Yeah, because it's not even 7. We're not leaving till 9 o'clock, so it'll be like a few hours. So, Zach, did they like the Werther's Original? I mean, I can't imagine anybody wouldn't like Werther's Originals because they're delicious. But I know it's old people candy, but they're still good, so fuck it. Let me see. Oh, I got my first, John Smith says, I got my first tattoo at 17, had it removed at 31 because what's cool at 17 looks shite at 31. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking of when I was 19. I was like, well, I don't want something that, like, looks crappy. And honestly, like, the tattoo that I had covered up, my first one, I didn't hate it. I would have had it done again, but it's just, it was so old and it was, like, really, really thick black lines. It was like an owl. It was, like, kind of a stylized looking owl. And I really liked it, but it started to like bleed out and fade and stuff like that. So I said, well, I'll just have it covered up because we knew a tattoo artist and he wanted to do something. Said it was the Albanian eagle on my chest. Took it off because people thought I was a Nazi. Yeah, I could see that. Let's see. Zach says, I rewatched Jaws. Although he called it Jews.
Jews.
Then he went, no, Jaws.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody made like a Jaws parody that's called Jews. I'm like Jewish people, like fucking. Oh my god, that would be super funny. He saw how yummy young Richard Dreyfuss was. Can we talk about that? He was actually pretty cute back in his day. I feel like if you're into kind of like he was real. He was kind of like the intellectual type, and he was kind of like, you know, but you know, I can see it.
Somebody asked me when I thought of the fucking horse treading the field at the end of the... I don't watch horse racing.
You know, it's weird. When we were at Momiji today, there was a horse... I think it was the Breeders' Cup.
Was it?
Was on. But there were 2 TVs on over the bar, and I think one that was... I think it was the Breeders' Cup, but then the other TV had... what was that? What's that show with Guy Fieri called? Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives? Or whatever. I actually kind of like that show. Guy Fieri's annoying as shit, but that's a fun show, though. Danny Rowling said, spiderweb tattoos are douchey. I mean, they can be, yeah. They can be, yeah. Zach said, I was asking Tom about this earlier. What's your thoughts on the Johnny Depp trial?
I didn't watch it.
I didn't either. I didn't care. Like I said, I don't really like care about celebrity shit.
Yeah,
so
I was saying the same thing.
So I don't really.
That's what I told Zach. He asked me about it, and I was just like, I have no interest in those old school celebrities. Most of them. There's a few of them. Yeah, I think I might be like Crossell might be interested. You know, but most of those people, they're just people working. You know, all I gotta do is just look at their marriages. They get married, and then they fucking turns out that they just white trash and fucking fighting, and then they break up again, and fucking Amber Heard taking a fucking squeezing out turds on the bed and shit. These people are fucking crazy, man. They're just. I think what happens is those celebrities will marry each other, and then a lot of times they once they get to know who they are, they're like, oh, this is just another fucking...
It's just a regular person.
Yeah, and then they're like,
what did you think? Well, see, I think that a lot of people have that misperception about celebrities. It's like, ooh, because they always look really good all the time and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, they look really good because they're rich, and they have like a whole bunch of people doing their makeup and hair and dressing them and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if you left them to their own devices, they'd probably go around looking like the rest of us. You know what I mean?
Those people don't really come from anything, you know? What would they be doing if they weren't that? They'd, be working at a grocery store somewhere, or the girls would be hookers, something like that, That's how old Weinstein had so much power over him, because he could hand out millions of dollars, jobs worth millions and millions of dollars to these women, so he could do whatever he wanted to them, and he could make them do things. Like, go fuck that dude, or you won't get the fucking part. And that part represented fucking $10 million. This is somebody that really would have been working at Walgreens if they weren't in Hollywood. So they had to do it. So they get married, and then they kind of get disenchanted with each other, because they just, and it's not just talking about those two. I think just in general, they get disenchanted a lot of times because they're just regular schlubs.
Yeah, it's like I said, they're not special. Right. I mean, they're special because they got money, but that's about it. A lot of that's just kind of luck. Some of it's talent too, but right place, right time.
I mean, the thing is it doesn't take that much talent to pull that off, and they can get all the help they want, to execute something. You can get CG to touch up your fucking love handles. They can change what color your face is and de-age you.
Well, nowadays it's like you don't have to worry about it.
You're right. I think what happened, what was funny is that I had never seen Johnny Depp off screen. I'd only seen him on screen. So I had no idea what he was like. I think I saw him on a couple talk shows as a guest, but you could tell he's still working. You know what I mean? He's the character, Johnny Depp. It's the character. He tried to live stream one time when these accusations came down. That's the first time I saw him when he wasn't on a movie. He was trying to live stream to people. I think he was... I saw a recording of the live stream on YouTube. I didn't see the actual live stream. It was probably about 2 days old. And he looked very uncomfortable. He couldn't really be himself, just talking to people. And I was looking at this guy and I was going, this is just... I felt bad for him, It was like, this guy, when he's off, when he doesn't have a script in his hand, he doesn't really know how to act or to talk to anybody. Which made me think he's kind of a guy disconnected from average people.
Well, we were kind of talking about this when we were talking about Tom Cruise, because it's like, once you're that famous and recognizable, and once you're that rich, you don't really have to interact with regular people to any great extent anymore. Yeah. So I feel like you kind of forget how. Yeah. Because you're kind of like isolated from that.
I could feel I'm pretty good when it comes to reading body language and getting kind of empathy from people. He's trying to come across as a regular guy, but he can't drop the Johnny Depp act. He doesn't really know what to do. You know what I mean? Should I be myself, or should I be Johnny Depp, the corporate Johnny Depp? And he's kind of stuck a little bit in the middle. And I just kind of had the feeling that there wasn't a lot of original personality that he cared to show. You know what I mean? He couldn't really show himself. Although being on that trial might have been good for him, because I think I caught little clips of it. He was his body language was natural. He was moving naturally. It could be that reality TV or the trial acted kind of like being on a reality show, which maybe gave him a little bit more confidence to be himself in public, because he'd never done that's what me and Jenny do it basically for a living, doing these live streams. You're being yourself in public. He'd never had to do that, And me and Graham, he's in we came up through the same little drama club together. We had a good drama teacher, and fucking, I was doing leads and musicals and stuff. It is a skill. You have to learn to put on a performance. But it's very different from a live stream. I really prefer a live stream to doing a performance. Although these get old too, because I'm like, I gotta do it again. But then once I start rolling, I'm like, yeah, back on it.
Yeah, I mean, I find these actually like pretty fun, like hanging out with you guys. Probably the Friday night ones more than I think the Wednesday night ones are fun, but it's like I'm always kind of like worried about how like the one we did Wednesday, it's like ended up being 5 hours long because we kept getting like sidetracked off of like all my notes, and I'm always kind of like worried that like, oh, I'm not going to cover everything I wanted to cover, blah blah blah. And then like Friday night I don't have to worry about that. But the thing about it is that I was never like I was never wanted to be like an actor. Like drama and stuff never appealed to me, just because I'm not comfortable like pretending to be somebody else or pretending to be like I'm not. You know what I mean?
It's not like a lot of people imagine.
But I've just never been comfortable like that. So it's just kind of like, to me, it's like if I'm gonna be on here like talking and shit like that, I don't really know how to be any other way other than what I'm actually like. I mean, you know, it's like he knows I'm here. I'm like this all the time.
Yeah.
This is what I'm like all the time.
Yeah. But acting is very different than this. It's a lot different. It's a lot different than what people think it is. Graham will tell you, the traditional way of doing it usually involves things like you got to do a bunch of stretches and calisthenics, and you have to fucking do dance moves in front of people and understand blocking, and you have to get over your fear of fucking making certain facial expressions and reaching out and projecting to a fucking crowd of people that are watching you. You know, there's kind of like instinctively people are kind of have inhibitions about raising their hands above their shoulder level in front of a huge crowd of people. There's things that you have to kind of beat out of you through repetitions, and it's almost like calisthenics. And then
we did some of that when I was in like choruses and stuff as well. Like I did that too.
And then they started incorporating dance and singing, and then you got to learn about the certain kind of methods of acting that have happened in the past, and then blocking, and which is how to move on a stage and how to set stages up, and that's just the very foundations. And then it starts getting later on into film, how film is done, and we had video production too. Which I have like a couple of those. Remember we did some of that black box stuff. And it's an interesting science or skill. It's good that you have to have those foundations. But there was nothing about live streaming. All right, the closest thing they ever had to something like that would be vaudeville, and even that was real stagey. So there's nothing in theater that's like live streaming a show, except maybe even early live TV wasn't like this, because that was all scripted and it was fucking bunches of people. The closest thing to this would be a radio show, like what they call a morning zoo. Like Howard Stern show was kind of like a morning zoo, just a bunch of people fucking hanging out. But even those were pretty scripted, you know.
Yeah, I mean they actually had.
You had to break for commercials, and there were segments involved. There were schedules. Everything was scheduled out fucking months in advance.
Yeah.
Guests, and everything. They're not as natural as they sounded. You know, this is very natural compared to all that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when we do the Wednesday shows, we obviously have a topic, and I obviously have like notes that I'm referring to, like about the topic, so I can refer to things. But Friday, we have no idea. We don't talk about, what are we going to talk about Friday night? We don't. We just like turn the shit on and be like, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's all ad-libbing.
But that's like more fun for me. I get stressed out more when I have like, I have to cover this point, that point, that point. Like I like doing it, but that's more stressful.
Yeah.
This is not stressful. I actually like look forward to doing this one, because I never feel like, oh my god, we're gonna be sitting there not saying anything. I'm like, when does that ever happen?
Doesn't happen that way.
Never.
No, and we always have too much material.
We always have like and even when we don't have anything to talk about, like on Friday nights, we end up like jabbing our jaws for like 3 or 4 hours. So I don't worry about that at all.
Now, there's still a place, of course, for movies and series. You know, there's still a place for all that, so that will still be around. But streaming and casting and YouTubers and all this shit, fucking podcasters, have taken a huge chunk of the market away from fucking Hollywood old school studios. They're just steady pumping out crap and not getting a lot of return for it. They really only make money on fucking huge blockbusters. And
well, like I said, it's two different things. It's like it kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. Sometimes I'm in the mood for watching a movie or watching a series or something like that. Or sometimes I just want to watch somebody that's like hanging out, decorating their mantle for Halloween or whatever. I
didn't say it wasn't good. I was just saying that there's still a place for it. It's just that they got to really be careful, because a studio can't make fucking 40 movies a year anymore. They'll lose their ass. You know. because nobody will see them. I mean, there were good movies like that movie that we saw, even indie flicks. They come and go so fast nobody sees them, even though they're good.
Well, a lot of times they don't get a wide release.
You're right.
Because it's like, oh, well, everyone's going to see, like, the Marvel movies or whatever, but it's like they don't really... Or it's like sometimes they'll get, like, a theatrical release, but it'll be, like, a week and then it's gone.
Yeah, and then you just got to look at stuff like cable television. Like, I don't understand how a channel like Hallmark can stay in business.
Do you know they still make, like, a fuck ton of money?
Do they? I just don't understand it. Who's watching
I was reading an article about it probably like a few months ago, and they were talking about how many movies they pump out for that channel a year. And they do ones for holidays, mostly Christmas. That's kind of their big thing, but they do like other holidays and stuff as well, and like people are still watching that shit.
I don't know anybody who watches that.
Well, I don't know either, but it's like we're not the demographic for it.
I couldn't tell you a single I wouldn't be able to recognize a single person that works on that channel.
The only times that I hear about Lifetime movies is from Nick DeRamio's channel. Yeah. Who he will go in there, like he'll pick movies. He does a lot of like those really terrible like Christian movies like on Pureflix. Yeah. But he also does like a lot of really, like cheesy holiday movies like on Lifetime and like shit like that. And he'll like do like really long like fucking hilarious like breakdown. If you've never seen like Nick DeRamio's channel, oh my god, he's like so funny. He's like the funniest dude on YouTube, seriously. And he just like goes, and his videos are long. They're like 45 minutes, an hour. They're almost as long as the movies that he's talking about. And he just goes and he puts up 2 a week, I think. But he does a lot of Lifetime movies. He does like some of those weird ass like kids movies from the 90s. Like he does all kind of like crazy shit. But that's the only time that I see like Lifetime ones is when he talks about them.
People are saying it's old ladies and very stupid, young, stupid girls that are watching Hallmark. Okay, well,
I guess it must be. Yeah, but like I said, they're still like very successful. They're still like they're pumping out lots of movies a year.
Where are they?
I was shocked when I read it.
Where are they watching this?
On TV, or you can stream it. Well, like I said, everybody nowadays...
Because it's even not like cable television.
No, well, even the regular channels like that you can watch on TV, every single channel, you can watch it on Peacock or Sling or Tubi.
They're now moving into digital platforms.
No, they have done that. They have been doing that. Well, like I said...
Because there was a time when there was a division between what was on cable.
Oh, not anymore. It hasn't been like that for a long time. Right. Well, like I said, you go... Well, a couple apps we have, like we have Peacock. Okay. And you can go on there and you can either stuff on demand, obviously like TV and movies and stuff like that, but there's live TV too. Okay. So you can just go over there and like watch all the fucking live. And honestly, like even shit like... It's not Peacock. It's not Tubi. It's what the fuck is that other one that I have? But there's like another one. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what the name of it is right now. But they even have like a whole Riff Tracks channel. They have a whole Mystery Science Theater channel, and it's live TV. You just go on and you just like
and it plays.
And there's commercials and shit like just like a regular channel.
That's understandable though because it's coming through an online app. I thought that they were hooking up the cable box.
No.
Turning their internet off and going to television.
Maybe old people are still doing that.
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening.
Old people are still doing that.
Because I was like, what the fuck? You know?
No.
I haven't.
Well, and you can. I mean, and some of the like Gordon Ramsay's shows, like when he does a new show. Yeah. He does a new show live, and then the next day it's on Hulu. Okay. So you just go on Hulu and watch it like with commercials.
So that's where they're getting their money.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I mean. Nobody is just like, I mean, other than maybe like old people. I thought they were turning shit
down and going over the fucking box and then going right to the old cable box.
Everything is digital now. There's no such thing as... Right. So you just go, I can't believe like you didn't, because it's been like that for like years and years. Right. You go to some, like I said, Sling or Peacock or something like that, and it's just like they have like you go up in the top and it says... on demand, and then you can pick what you want, but then there's like live TV, and there's like a zillion million channels.
Just to get internet, you're going to get all those cable channels, all right? They just come with it. So, but I never switch over to it. No. You know, I'm actually running everything through my fucking Xbox One, because I got apps on that, and I can go to anything. Tubi or, you know.
Yeah, like I said,
I even got the damn British channel now, so I can watch all the old...
BritBox.
Yeah, BritBox.
Yeah,
that was $5 a month. So.
Yeah, we have but a lot of people do, like I said, you can do Roku, you can do the Fire Stick, you can do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we have the Xbox, so we have, like I said, we have Amazon Prime, we have Shudder, we have Hulu, we have, and some of the free ones like Peacock, Tubi is free. I can't remember what the name of that other fucking other one is, man. What the fuck is that other one?
Gramthars said that lonely women love Hallmark movies like a drunk Irishman loves Jesus. Okay, I got you. Mm-hmm. I got you. Because I saw some of that shit and I was like, who the fuck is watching this? They were making us watch that shit at the fucking VA hospital. I was waiting for them to get my eyes examined. And fucking I'm looking at all these old vets and they got us fucking watching the Hallmark channel. And I go, why the fuck have we got this thing on? And I says, where the hell's the damn remote? And fucking old wise man in the corner says, they took the remote. They make us, I said, why
they make us watch this?
Yeah, they make us watch this. And we're in the waiting room, and fucking another guy goes, they don't want to make us mad. They're afraid we're going to kill somebody. You know, that's what it is. They can put all this calm shit on. Fucking, yeah.
But the thing about it is, like, if you, seriously, you don't, because I don't like those Lifetime movies either.
What the fuck is this on? Yeah.
Honestly, why don't you put on something that's, like, more neutral? Like, you could put on something like cooking shows, or you know what I mean, like the Guy Fieri show or Gordon Ramsay or something like that. Everybody likes that.
They were trying to fucking.
Everybody likes that.
John says, "Are you working through classic Doctor Who on BritBox?" Actually, I'm working through it for the second or third or fifth, sixth time since my childhood, because they used to play all those on our PBS here. I fucking.
Before you cancel that subscription, I need to go in there and poke around and see like if there's shit I want to watch.
So I'm gonna watch all the old Tom Baker ones. Starting off with Robot. And fucking, there was a lot of shit, man. That series was way ahead of its fucking time. The very first episode had Tom Baker. And, you know, it's Tom Baker, Doctor Who. He's already with Sarah Jane Smith, I think. She sees his transformation and everything. I think. Yeah, if I remember. Anyway. He's fighting this secret society down in Britain of these Nazi-like dudes who are going to take over the world because they got this superior intellect and they're all scientists. Mm-hmm. And they're going to build a robot that's helping them do it. And it's this big old AI robot. It's a cool-looking retro robot that they're making. And I'm going, who are these dudes? And they're finally unveiled to be technocrats. They were the technocratic party. I was like, hell yeah, they called that shit right. They were going to use high technology and everything to take over because democracy couldn't work because people were too stupid. So they were going to fucking fool people into thinking democracy was working, but they would rig all the fucking machines to give them all the power and that they could be a super class. And I was like, man, they must have been reading Bilderberger fucking, and what's in the Club of Rome documents and shit that AJ was fucking looking at. But no, I was like, damn, pretty relevant. And then no, that whole retro. If y'all have not seen the old Doctor Who that had Tom Baker in it, they're fucking masterpieces, man. They're fucking great. The Brits knew how to. The writing is good, real good. You know, they'll reboot shit. You know, like Frankenstein in space. They fucking had just. They'll reboot kind of like Jack the Ripper. That was a good one. It was not
original Star Trek did that too.
Yeah, they did that too. Except it wasn't Jack the Ripper. It was called. In their long. You know, there might be 6 parts to it. The one that was kind of like Jack the Ripper was called The Talons of Wang Chiang, and it's like in old England.
I remember
1800s. Yeah. These women are turning up. Disappearing around this theater, and working at the theater is there's a Chinese magician, and he's got all these Chinese guys with him, and the doctor gets involved. He's helping Scotland Yard and figure out where these girls are disappearing to. Turns out, first of all, the ventriloquist dummy can get up and walk around and tries to kill people, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? He's got a Chinese ventriloquist dummy.
They did some like movies from the 50s where that happened.
Yeah.
Or 40s, actually. I
right.
think it was a 40s one.
The doctor fucking destroys that thing and finds out that it was a homunculus. That's what he called it. And he said it was from the 1980s. Not the 1880s, but the 1980s. And
remember all those homunculi we had in the 1980s? I remember that.
Yeah. But what he said was, he called it a homunculus. It was a product you could buy, and it was a robot that had a pig brain in it, and that this one had been fucking specially made to be an assassin. And it turns out that the Chinese guys were just a front. They had a damn time traveler from the 1980s, a dude from Earth, used a special technology to transport himself backwards in time to escape war crimes tribunal because he was involved in World War III. And he goes back to fucking ancient China and starts his own cult, like fucking warrior cult type thing that protected him. And he was like several hundred years old. He was keeping himself alive by sucking energy out of young girls and keeping his cells rejuvenated, like a vampire. Yeah, he was doing it with technology from the 1980s. It's a good one, though.
Also, he brought back like some Duran Duran records and changed the entire course of history.
Not mentioned. His name was...
That was a side plot.
His name was Magnus Greel. And he was kind of like fucking Darth Vader, but he was wearing like a Chinese robe with a leather fucking face mask. And I think it was before Star Wars. Star Wars was a British movie for you bitches that don't understand it, man. That shit was made there. They did all the work. They just put some Americans
the entire crew on it.
Yeah, the entire crew is British.
Were British.
Right.
Gramthars says, Johnny Depp kept referring to her turds as grumpies. Is that a common word for a shit in a bed?
He called them grumpies?
Not that I've ever heard. Wait, who has words for turds?
Fucking Johnny Depp's fake ass would do that shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sly says, is talking about Ask a Mortician. Yeah, I actually really, really like that channel. If you've never seen that, it's this young woman. She's kind of like a gothy looking woman, and she's a mortician, and she has like a really, really popular YouTube channel where she answers like people's questions about dead bodies and stuff like that. It's actually like really entertaining. Yeah, I got like really behind.
I didn't know Tom Baker fucking married Romana too, the second Romana. I didn't realize his wife.
See that?
Yeah. Both of the Romanas were cute.
Tammy says, I for one have never been bored during any of your live streams.
Okay, John says the Talons of Wang Chiang was a spin-off to an audio adventure series called Jago and Lightfoot. Yeah, that's right. Those two characters were in there. Jago and Lightfoot were in there. They were kind of like investigators, weren't they? They were kind of like what was the name? They were kind of, yeah, I guess you could say they were kind of like Sherlock Holmes and Watson, kind of. But I just thought it was a Jack the Ripper spinoff.
Danny Rowling said Hallmark movies are filled with shit list actors.
Yeah,
a lot of them are kind of like actors that you recognize, like from, it's like, I remember that motherfucker from like some sitcom back in the 80s or something like that. So it's kind of like, I hate to call them like has-beens. That seems, they're just trying to like get work, just like the rest of us. But yeah, it is kind of a lot of those type of actors.
Mr. 88 said that all Criterion Collection DVDs and Blu-rays are 50% off. All July at Barnes and Nobles.
Oh shit! Maybe we should go. There's a Barnes and Noble in the mall where our movie theater is.
It might be online too. And then he goes, the Criterion released an entire Lone Wolf and Cub, which Tom recommended on a previous episode. Yes, right.
Yeah,
the Lone Wolf and Cub series was good. Japanese.
And we have it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's like coming from Tokugawa. Looks like Tokugawa era Japan and all these fucking old fashioned paper and it's all.
I mean, the artwork is gorgeous on it, and it's like this big box and it like all.
That was the original Mandalorian basically. It was basically the Mandalorian. It was a ripoff of Lone Wolf and Cub.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd say ripoff because they absolutely said, this is like a Star Wars version of Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? They did acknowledge. Yeah. That was where they got the idea from. I mean, but it's the same story, if you didn't know. John Smith said, my favorite Doctor was the one I grew up with, Sylvester McCoy.
I don't remember which one that was.
I never, you know what?
Curly hair dude, the blonde curly hair guy.
There have been so many.
Yeah. I liked Tom Baker. That's my favorite.
It's like, I watched it when I was a kid because I had a cousin that was 2 or 3 years older than me, and he was like really into it. And so sometimes we would watch it. It was on PBS, like back in the 70s and early 80s. And then I kind of like lost track of it for a while. And then I didn't really watch it again until I think Christopher Eccleston was on it, because I really like.
He was a good doctor. I
really like Christopher Eccleston. Yeah. Well, I've seen him in like tons of stuff. He was in, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he was in a movie that was an adaptation of the Thomas Hardy novel Jude the Obscure, and it's just called Jude, which is, I love that novel, but it's probably the most depressing novel ever. Well, I don't know if it's the most depressing novel ever written. That'd probably be The Road by Cormac McCarthy, but it's pretty depressing. But still, it's still like amazing. So they made a movie out of it, and it was him and Kate Winslet, and I fucking love that movie. And I never hear anybody talking about it for whatever reason.
For me, the doctor's Tom Baker, or Tom Baker is a doctor, in the same way that in the same way that William Shatner is Captain Kirk, you know. Although the second fucking Captain Kirk, done by old fucking what's his name from Star Trek Continues, he's good too. What's his name?
Vic.
What's that?
Vic.
Yeah, Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna. And Todd Haberkorn does Spock on Star Trek Continues. Those are really good. If you like that original Star Trek, if you like the original Star Trek, they wrap that fucking series up and connect it to the Star Trek motion picture, and they give Star Trek a final season. And it's all a lot of the same writers and the same guys that were in the old one, and it's got the same tone and everything. You watch Star Trek Continues, and you can see it for free on YouTube in HD, and it'll take you back, man. And fucking when that series ends, fucking Kanavatsan, he said the same thing. In the final fucking episodes, as it's ending, you get your lump in the throat and everything.
I cried.
You're like, oh man.
I cried.
Right, because there's a lot of shit you didn't think about. Like, why did Spock leave service? Why'd they have to go to Vulcan to go get him? To go fucking intercept V'ger? There's a bunch of shit that it's in that. They wrapped it up. It's good. But the writing's excellent. A lot of the same writers. That's why they had to shut Vic down. CBS shut that shit down. Because that was a fan series, but his fan series was better than fucking Star Trek. The CBS Star Trek that they have now, it's a lot better. What was it? STD? Star Trek Discovery? Nah.
John Smith says, Tom Baker is an interesting guy, but in his autobiography, he dedicates exactly one sentence to his second wife, Lalla Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, she married Richard Dawkins later, did she not?
Yeah.
They might still be married.
She was the cute blonde, right, with the big tall forehead?
The big tall forehead.
Yeah, she had, her hairline was way up on the top of her head, parted in the middle, but she was cute. Little pug nose. Blonde.
Pug nose and a big tall forehead.
Yeah. If you saw pictures of her, you know exactly what I was talking about.
Well, I've seen her before. I know who she is. Yeah. But like I said, I think she was married to Richard Dawkins. She might still be, or I don't know if she's still alive even.
She was cute. She was real cute. But were there two Romanas though? Because he said Romana 2, I think. And I think there might have been two of them.
Yeah. I don't like I said, I saw the old ones, and then like I saw some of the newer ones like on and off, but I didn't really like follow it all the way through.
See you, Tom. Night.
Dom.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said Tom.
I said Tom.
That's your name.
Said good night, Dom.
I thought you were saying good night to yourself.
No. He was leaving.
Oh man. Speaking of William Shatner, we found a show it's on Hulu, right?
Yeah.
Because we finished watching The Food That Built America, which is an excellent series, by the way. That was fascinating. Every single episode was like almost an hour. And they went into all the kind of... Man, it was really, really good. So after that, we got recommended a show. I guess it was from 2019, I want to say. And William Shatner's on it, and it's called The Unexplained, but without an E in it. So it's UNXPLN, So it was like that. And he's on every one, like, talking about... They do, like, a bunch of different stories on every one, but they're kind of, like, themed. Like, he's like, here's one that's, like... creepy areas like the suicide forest in Japan and blah blah blah, and then there was one that was all about cryptids, and they were talking about like chupacabra and the goat man and all that kind of stuff. And There was one, then we watched one about, like, unnatural nature that had stuff about, like, Centralia, like, Pennsylvania. And what else was on that one? I can't remember now. But, yeah, that was just kind of like... But that's kind of, like, fun, too. But the funny thing about it is that William Shatner, he was got to be, like, in his 90s, like, on the show. He still looks good, though. One, you can tell he's probably wearing a girdle or a corset or something, like when he comes out and they do the long shots, because he's kind of coming out like looking like... I was like, yeah, I know that walk. So he comes out doing that. I've done it myself many times. But he's kind of coming out doing that. But they have like all of these interviews with people talking about whatever the topic is, and then he'll come back in and be like, a man that's half man and half goat? Crazy, you know what I mean? It's just like really funny how like over the top he is. It's a super fun show though. I'm enjoying it, but we just had that recommended like after the food show that we watched. But yeah, it's on Hulu. I don't know what channel it was on to start with. Fun Shatner fact, says John Smith, he was in the only movie that was filmed in Esperanto. Yeah, that's right. And I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but I remember hearing about that, like it was kind of like a big deal at the time. Remember, you kids today, like you maybe won't understand, but when did the whole Esperanto thing start? I kind of feel like it was early 70s, but it may have been before that. Esperanto was supposed to be, wasn't it? They kind of like posited as like a universal language, right?
It's a fake language.
Yeah, they were trying to like get a language that like, oh, everybody should learn it, and it's just kind of like a universal. It was kind of like taking bits from everything. I don't really know, but
it was a Latin base.
It didn't really go anywhere though. But I just remember it being like kind of a big thing for a minute.
English took over, basically, especially with the internet.
Because we're the ones making all the movies and stuff.
I think internet had a lot to do with it. For a while, if you wanted to be on the internet, you better speak English. Now you got other countries that have apps in their own language, but in the 90s, if you wanted to be on the internet, you better know English, because most of it was in English.
John Smith says, I'd like Shatner's song "You're Going to Die" playing at my funeral. I was talking about the William Shatner show we've been watching.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. I mean, a lot of it is, if you know anything about weird shit or paranormal shit or anything like that, like a lot of it's not going to be new information to you, but it's got like nice, I kind of feel like it has like nice production quality. Like it looks like it's a high quality. Like I was watching the one about cryptids last night, and they had like the lady on there that found the chupacabra and all that, but they were talking about like Mothman, and I was like, the Mothman like animation, and so I'm like, wow, that's really nice. I really liked the Mothman animation.
John Smith says that his parents were going to fucking send him to Esperanto school. Yes, I was. When I was a little kid in the 70s, the international language was French. Yeah. It wasn't even English, it was French.
Well, I feel like English and French are the two official languages of the UN, right? Or they were when I don't know about now.
In the 70s,
they used to be.
Not even English, it was just French. And like most of your scientific journals and everything were all in French. And which is one of the reasons why when you saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you know what I mean, the guy in charge of that shit was French. And remember that? And he's speaking French, and he's in charge of MUFON, basically. But that kind of gave it some more gravitas. I remember when I was a kid. Dad was like, "Oh man, hey, he's speaking French. Yeah, he knows what's up. It's that international, that's that international language."
I took French in high school for 4 years. I don't remember much about it though, because I didn't like use it a lot.
Right.
But every now and then, if I watch a movie that's in French, I'm just kind of like, "Hey, I know what that means," like without the subtitles, you know. They were talking about Masterpiece Theater. I remember some of those. Not a lot of them. I don't remember any of them like specifically, but yeah, I remember like watching that sometimes, back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Sly says he listened to old Art Bell shows to put him to sleep. Yeah, they're good. Art Bell, he was the fucking master, man. He had a fucking great voice, and he could take something that was just not much and turn it into something real mysterious. Like, oh, and today we're going to talk about, I can't even do his voice. You know, the pit to hell. Today will be, and he has a hole in the hole in his backyard that goes to hell. And he's recorded voices of the demons. Later on tonight, he's going on. The Star Child skull. Oh, this. Yeah, but that was what was great about Art. Art never really made fun of any of his guests or any of the subjects. You could tell when he kind of didn't believe it, but he left it up to you. You know, he asked pretty good questions, but he was never real.
He tried to remain diplomatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, he'd remain.
I don't think
diplomatic.
I'd be able to.
Yeah, he'd remain diplomatic.
I'm not good at like just if I think you're full of shit, like it's gonna, even if I'm pretending to like to be nice, it's gonna come out.
It's back when you had to get a radio and you had to dial in on it just right to listen to it. Fucking, it was kind of an adventurous time. Where's the radio? I gotta see if I can find Art Bell. He's coming on.
Art Bell's on.
Yeah, you
listen to it. I always felt like Art Bell. Like whenever I listened to that, I always imagined like some trucker like in his semi. Driving along like Route 66 or something, listening to Art Bell. Yeah. And then there was like a UFO hovering in the background. That's what I always imagined. Well, it has a very like desert, like southwestern kind of like vibe to it.
Well, he made sure of that because he was broadcasting out from the desert.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like it always like had that vibe to it to me. Yeah. Like I'm driving out in the middle of nowhere. Like on this road and like there's nobody else around and maybe there's a UFO like hovering in the sky.
Yeah, it was pre-internet, early days of the internet, and radio was still a real powerful underground means of communication and getting information. And I remember, you know, listening to Art Bell talk about stuff like the Muller Sky Car, and I'd get on fucking 90s internet and try to get pictures of this thing. And it's like, damn. So radio was as mysterious and powerful as early internet for a while.
Yeah. Then when you looked it up on the internet, you'd have to like wait for the photo to
the photo be forever,
line by line.
Yeah.
4 hours later.
Yeah, 4 hours later. Yeah.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
Man, I would not want to go back to that.
It's like you did some shit though.
You had to like walk away and go do some other shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do the laundry and mow the lawn and like, and then I'll come back and maybe the one photo will have loaded.
Yeah. Got some real important information here. Got it downloaded from the internet. Oh really? Yeah, it's got to be big. You know, you're looking at it and go, oh yeah. It's just it was another time. Although you know what, it was a romantic time. It was a time where you could still believe in crazy shit. You know. Although crazy shit still happens.
People
now.
Still believe in crazy shit.
Yeah, crazy.
I don't know where you've been.
Well, crazy shit still happens. It's just now there's not as much mystery. Like we know every inch of the Earth. There's no way you're gonna fucking find an uncharted island, like back in the novels. You know.
Oh my God, it's Atlantis.
Yeah, found an island and there's dinosaurs on it. Nobody knows about this island. You know.
Everyone's like,
that'll never happen.
Come on.
You know.
Although there will still be people that believe it.
Or there might be something up on the down in Antarctica, a fucking frozen pyramid. I saw what they were talking about. I was hearing people talk about that a long time ago. That satellites have found a fucking pyramid on Antarctica.
What is it? Just like a snow hill?
I went back and looked at what they were talking about. Yeah, it's like it's a frozen mountain that looks kind of like a pyramid.
That's what I figured.
But it's the snow drifts, and it's also the angle of the photo, and the way the shadows is on it. You know, Cydonia stuff like Cydonia.
I mean, it's cool and everything, but it's just kind of I don't like to piss in anyone's cornflakes, but come on. There's enough like cool shit in the world that's actually real. Like you don't have to like make up stuff.
Art Bell would get up there, he'd have a whole guest, you know. They would go on for hours and hours.
A whole guest? Not half a guest.
A whole guest. A whole guest behind him. And would talk about that one photo for fucking an hour and a half, you know. kind of like the,
that's pretty good.
Kind of like the face on Mars and Cydonia and Richard C. Hoagland. That's what it is. Hoagland. And if you look right here, Art, you see the shadow, and you see on the side of this mountain. What we have here is a garage door. You don't say it opens up, and of course, this is right in front of the Grand Temple, right here, and the landing strip.
And look, there's a Dodge Dart in there.
Yeah. And if you see right here and here and here, this all connects into a line, which we see that you can see plainly see. The only thing that looks like this on Earth is power lines. And these are the remnants of ancient power lines. You know, power poles.
I feel like if you say something with enough conviction, then there's going to be like a percentage of people that are going to believe it. Even though, like, if you think about it for 5 seconds, you're like, wait a minute, that's bullshit. Come on.
Oh, Richard C. was the shit, though. He'll fucking keep you going. The photographs weren't good enough to go, you're full of shit.
After they got good ones, they're just going like, oh. Yeah, they're going, it doesn't look like anything.
He's probably still got that game if he's still alive, though. He's just changed it. If you
that's kind of what what you have to do. And we were kind of talking about this a little bit when we were, on Wednesday's show when we were talking about like the spiritualists and stuff like that. When somebody like debunks your shit, you got to come at it from like a different angle because you still got to like keep that grift going,
Well, you see, in those days, you know what I mean, the photos weren't that good and they were like high altitude satellite photos. But now you have those rovers. So now you got to change the game to smaller scale.
Yeah.
If you look right here next to this other rock, you can plainly see it says Marlboro. This is the top of a pack of cigarettes. Yeah.
Next Dimension Media says, "Hey Jenny and Tom, have you covered the Skinwalker Ranch in Utah?"
Yeah,
we did a show about that. I don't remember when it was, but it was probably like a couple years back. I feel like we did.
That was Bigelow's place, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
His name Bigelow?
I don't remember what his name was. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we did a show about that. Louis says, hey, there's people that believe the earth is flat. Yeah, they do. I mean, in this day and age, I kind of feel like probably 99% of those people are trolling.
Yeah.
But there are some people out there that believe some really, really stupid shit. So it wouldn't shock me if there was maybe a couple percentage of it that actually genuinely believed in that.
Our friend Angel, she's a goth chick. She's our age. She's my age. She's older than Jane. She's into all that. She's into conspiracy stuff. She's into the fucking flat earth shit. But she's fucking trolling. All right. She said that satellites are actually held up by helium. You know satellites?
Yeah.
It's a helium balloon.
Yeah, I know what a satellite is. It's a helium balloon.
Helium balloons, yeah. But
just
she's
like
bullshit. I said it's not flat, you know. And I says, how do you explain that the sun goes down and comes out on the other side? You know what I mean? The motion of the sun. And she said it's actually a flat surface and the sun is doing this over it. It's like in a circle.
That's what they used to say.
It's like a donut-shaped flat Earth. So in other words,
Earth is a donut.
It's like a donut and it's flat. And
donuts. See,
here's the thing: you got to cut black flips to make that model
black
work.
Flips?
Yeah, you got to cut black flips to make that model work. When the simple solution is that it's a sphere spinning. But that's too easy. You know,
well,
that's too easy. You gotta fucking make it flat. You gotta make theories that fucking cause this to work if it was flat. And so then they have these weird twisted torporial fucking flat earth, and they don't call it a flat earth phenomenon. They don't call it flat earth.
Well, they
theory.
have to probably give it like a scientific
flat
name.
Earth truth.
I was gonna say,
so you really know they're fucking trolling. You know?
I was gonna say I thought they'd have to give it like a more scientific, because you know how the creationists, like they got like back in the day, they got like they're like, yeah, your shit's religion and you can't like teach that in science class, and they're like, no, it's scientific. Now we're calling it intelligent design, and then they were coming up with like all of these disproofs of like evolution, which were all bullshit if you looked at them. But it's just kind of like, man, I don't know. Like Victor says, conspiracy theories are like a mental disorder these days. Yeah, I agree. Well, the thing about it is that, you know, and I'm not saying that smaller scale conspiracies don't exist, but like people that think that there's these like world spanning conspiracies and it's just kind of like, oh, the earth is flat and everybody's like fooling. It's just like, come on now, come on. Do you know how many people would have to be in on that to like fuck it? There's just no way. There's no way.
Well,
there's no way.
A lot of the world.
The thing about, well, no, what I'm saying about, like, the thing about people that believe in conspiracy theories, that genuinely believe in, like, really crazy, like, big ones. The thing about that, I think they're not as smart as they think they are. and they think that, oh, well, if you believe in, like, the scientific consensus or whatever, that's what everyone else believes, or that's what, like, so I'm going to be, like, even more intelligent than that, so I'm going to doubt that. It makes them feel smarter, I think, is what the appeal of it is.
That's Jetty's theory. My theory of what she's talking about is religion. Okay. It's a battle of wills with religions. Most of the fucking crazy conspiracy theories have to do with dinosaurs and the Earth being round or flat. Okay. I think a lot of what they're doing is they're just coming up with a way to go, no, I'm right. That's all it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're
saying that they're smarter than people who have actually, like, studied the shit for years and years and years, even though they just, like, sit in their house and watch YouTube all day.
If they actually believe what they're saying, I don't really think that they do believe it.
Some of them do, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them do.
I mean, there was a dude saying
they either do or they waste a lot of their fucking life energy, like, pretending they do, which I don't really understand the point of that.
The reason why you would lie, and this is all old. There aren't very many people that still do this. So talking about it's kind of funny. It makes us feel like boomers talking about it. Most of the people that were really serious about this are long dead. That was like my grandparents' generation. They were really fighting hard on a lot of that stuff. They're all dead. They had shit out. You know shit's wrong when they're trying to say, no, dinosaurs had those sharp teeth, but they're vegetarian because bats have those same sharp teeth and they just eat fruit. Why would they say this? Why do they want to say that dinosaurs are not old? Why is it they want to say that dinosaurs are not old?
Because of the Bible.
No, here's the thing. The Bible doesn't say any of that shit.
I know.
They have interpreted the book of Genesis to mean that the earth is only 6,000 years old. It doesn't say anywhere in Genesis that the earth is 6,000 years old.
The 6,000 years old, that comes from a dude like in the 1800s who was doing some math.
They made up the fucking 6,000-year-old.
So they came to that conclusion, then they had to backdate.
Right.
They have to fit everything in.
Right. And it wasn't, now, in the media here in the United States, they made sure to kind of tarnish all Christians with this. Even when this was going on, all Christians didn't believe that. It was just some of them. And they were the most pain in the ass ones, okay? Most Christians didn't believe that. There were a lot of other Christians throughout history that believed in evolution. It's just that you don't hear about it.
No, I don't think they didn't tarnish all Christians with that. I mean, as far as I knew,
they tried though.
As far as I knew, everything I saw for like the media, and like I said, I've been an atheist for a long time.
Right.
Old Earth creationists are a very small percentage.
It's just a small percentage of them, right?
There are other creationists that are, what do they call it? The creationists that believe the Earth is 6,000 years old. You also have creationists that believe that the Earth is as old as it is, but that the Bible, when they say it's this many days of creation, they mean X million years or whatever. So they're willing to say, yeah, the Earth is as old as science says it is. We just still think God created it, which whatever, fine. But then there are a lot of Christians, too, that think, oh, well, evolution is true, but God directed it. Which, like I said, fine.
That was most of them.
Young Earth creationists...
What were they called? I don't remember what they were called.
They're just called regular Christians. Honestly, Young Earth creationists are a very, very small... But they were a very small but vocal minority.
There was... I'm going to find it. We'll talk about it on another show. There was a certain kind of Christian. They had a name for them, or a term to describe them. And most Christians fell into the description of that term. Is that they believed that the forces of evolution were the will of God.
Yeah, well, like I said, that was the majority opinion.
That was the majority opinion.
As long as I've ever remembered.
Right, and here's the thing. The dude, Darwin, was not the first one to come up with this shit. He was the first one to kind of codify it and really write big books on it. They had guys in the 1700s that were religious, kind of Christians, but they were scientists. and knew about animal breeding and started to think that nature was breeding animals into being other things and other species, that nature was kind of like the hand of an animal breeder, and that was the mechanism by which God created creatures and things that were inanimate. That's kind of like proto-evolutionary concept.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the idea was not new.
It was not a new idea.
I mean, Darwin was the first one to come up with...
He kind of codified shit.
Well, he was the first one to come up with, like, the mechanism in natural selection, but the idea had been around for a long time. As anybody that worked on a farm or anybody like that did animal breeding, like you said, it was very, very easy to notice...
that you could change an animal in a few generations. They didn't
know about anything. Even Darwin didn't know about genetics.
Well, they didn't know. They hadn't isolated the DNA molecule yet.
Right, but they saw that it was happening. Right. So obviously, like, he was just the first person to kind of like have a framework for it. But it had been, there were precursors, obviously.
The modern stereotype is that Christians and Muslims and Jews were not scientific. No, they were. They were very scientific. It was just later on in the Industrial Revolution, you had a lot of religious problems in the United States, and certain religious groups tried to stop the progress of technology and science. But that didn't represent what was the mainstream of any of those religions. Fucking one of the greatest scientists of all times was fucking super Christian and crazy. Isaac Newton invented physics and calculus. Real religious.
Got real into alchemy later.
Real into alchemy too.
He's actually fascinating. I wouldn't actually mind I wouldn't mind doing a show about him because I read a book about him, like, not about his scientific discoveries, which obviously were amazing, but about kind of his later life where he was kind of more into alchemy and like doing like so it was kind of like really
they were like something out of Frankenstein novels. He was into science, mathematics, physics, religion, alchemy, and mysticism. It was all, there was no reason to differentiate it back then.
Like I said, we kind of like got into this on the...
Dealing with Frankenstein.
Well, we kind of got into this on our show about spiritualism and seances and stuff like that, and I said, I'm going to give a pass to a lot of scientists that went to seances and shit like that, because back in those days, this was before radio, this was before television, this was before electricity, and a lot of those things work invisibly. So back then people would have thought it's like magic. Because it seems I'm sending a message here and then somebody across the fucking ocean is getting this message and there's no wire in between. Like there's no mechanism by which we're communicating. And that might have like seemed like magic. So it's not crazy to extrapolate from that, hey, we can talk to dead people, like beyond the veil. Like I said, it's not a crazy thing. So I kind of understand like why a lot of scientists were into, hey, I'm going to, like Thomas Edison, hey, I'm going to build a phone like to talk to dead people or whatever. Like Tesla did that, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, it wasn't crazy back then because the possibilities were still open. Like nowadays, everybody's pretty sure you can't do that, but back then they didn't know. So.
And throughout history, man, human beings are super fascinating. And ancients, to me, were more fascinating than modern people in many ways. The ancient Greeks, the Romans, the Mayans, all the Mesoamericans, the Mexicans, or the Mexica. I mean, these dudes would sacrifice people. They'd flay people alive. They'd do all these bloody things. But they thought it was for good. They were trying to repay the blood debt, to keep the machine work of the fucking universe moving forward. And they're fucking geniuses, these guys, all right? They've come up with some of the most advanced calendars, far more advanced than our calendars, more accurate. They're basically time worshippers, the keeper of time. They're trying to keep, because of their religious beliefs, they're trying to keep time flowing forward because their stories basically told them that it was their duty. And
they better not fuck it up or they're going to get in trouble.
You got to pay back the blood debt to the fucking son that created you. And he's the one that's causing fucking time to move forward. There's just fantastic calculations that could only be done through this advanced calendar. And they're beautiful to look at. And a language totally based on emojis, basically, and combining emojis. And we've only recently, the Western world has understood what an emoji is. We were trying to figure out what kind of fucking language is this. It's fucking emojis. That's what they are. You know?
There's really no difference.
Yeah, and then they're combining and squishing emojis and to mean something, and then changing the facial expression to give an emoticon with the emoji, and then on to the next one. Just, it's advanced. It's an advanced thinking. And Dominican friars were trying to write back to the Pope, saying, no, we shouldn't burn all this. This is a huge library of fucking advanced knowledge, and they're being ordered to burn it because it's the work of the devil.
Yeah.
But the guys on the ground are like, nah, we really shouldn't do it. But eventually they did it.
Yeah, they did.
And the only thing that came back was like the Dresden Codexes, and fucking a few codexes were saved. Some of the central ones. But lost civilizational stuff. And then if you looked at what Egypt was doing and you looked at what the Mesoamericans were doing, man, I got to give it to the Mesoamericans with the whole emoji thing and the calendar thing. Yeah, the Egyptians can make a badass structures, but the Mexica and the Mayans were more mental gymnastics. I think you have to have a greater imagination, you know, to come up with what those guys came up with.
Well, I admire a lot of the people from the past because it's just kind of like, think that they didn't have a lot of the shortcuts and like the ease of things nowadays.
They're trying to figure it out on their own.
They're just trying to like figure shit out. They didn't really have any other resources except for their own like fucking brains, and the shit that they figured out is like mind blowing. John Smith says Leonardo da Vinci wrote about finding shells in the middle of Italy. Yeah. Suspected an ocean was probably there a long time ago, and said the planet was probably a lot older than people suspected. Yeah, and that was like in the 1400s. I remember, I think Stephen Jay Gould wrote an essay about that, if I'm remembering, because I used to read like a lot of his books of essays and stuff, and I kind of feel like he wrote at least one essay on that, or maybe several, because I know he had like a bunch of books that were collections of essays, and I think he wrote one about that. How Leonardo da Vinci like figured out, you know, he wasn't just kind of like, hey, what are these like fossil shells doing at the top of this mountain? He was like, oh, this must have been the bottom of an ocean. So like I said, they weren't, you know, so maybe like the earth is like really old. They weren't dumb back then. They figured some shit out. Yeah, Victor says, where's Tila at? Honestly, like, yeah, Tila hasn't been here in a little while. I was like, I hope she's okay. I know they moved. I think they moved. But I don't know if she's like on a different schedule now, or she doesn't ever... Yeah, I haven't heard from her in a while. It's like, it's crazy. Let's see. Yeah, Camp Guy says shell fossils inside caves in central Tennessee, 1,000 feet elevation. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's something to think, because humans' lifespans in the in the grand scheme of things are very short. You know, less than a century, and so it's easy for us to be like, oh, well, this is like a mountain now, or this is a cave now, but it's always going to be like that. But it's not always like that. And sometimes it's like in only 1,000 years, like I said, and it's like completely different, which is crazy. But yeah, Leonardo da Vinci even figured that shit out.
Yeah, Victor comes in, where's Tila at? I don't know where Tila's at. She's cheating on me. She's cheating on us. What she doing? Haven't seen her in a while. She jumped in, how long ago was that? About a month ago?
It's probably like a month ago now that I think about it.
She's looking good in that shit. About a month ago, yeah, I'm gonna get some of that. Like about a month ago, she jumped in, and she said, hey, and I think they were getting ready to move. Something was going on. But she hadn't been in for weeks, and then she jumped in for a few minutes and then left. Yeah, Con says a good point of view. Thank you. I didn't know if you were listening, Con. Yeah, man, the Bakhtun, that's some heavy shit. You see, nowadays, we only have days, weeks, months, years, maybe a century or millennium. They didn't have any ideas about Bakhtun. Okay. And there are some CGI representations on how the Mayan calendar, which is the same one the Mexica used. The Mesoamericans all basically used the same calendar. They might have put different emojis in it and had slightly different stories about it, but it's basically the same kind of system. And it was a bunch of spinning wheels, all interlocking like gears. And they could break things down. They were the masters of time. They understood time a lot better than Westerners of that time did. And big into the stars, how stars moved. And what's funny, as far as we know, no mechanical clocks. But they knew about days and how to break a day down. How to fucking... They're worried about 10,000 year and 100,000 year cycles. I mean, they were fucking deep into the shit. And they're dealing with very big numbers, but they don't have the Arabic numeral system. They don't even have the Roman numeral system, which was also unwieldy. They had their own number system. It was dots, lines, and the way the lines would go. And we don't have a lot of examples of their mathematics because a lot of the shit got burned. But they to deal with the numbers they're dealing with when it comes to time, they had to have had pretty advanced mathematics. You know, whether or not they were applying it to engineering, probably not. Mesoamerican engineering was good, but simple. They weren't making huge stone blocks and assembling pyramids. They would just make a mountain pyramid shaped and start building on top of it, and then a king would change and he'd build another thing on top of it. It was just like, what do you call it? Superficial? What do you call it? A facade. It was facades over mountains, and then they would dig into there. Because Mesoamerican city-states just didn't have the population of, say, ancient Egypt. They didn't have as many people in them. Their agricultural skill wasn't that good. They would deplete the land around the city, and yields would start diminishing, and they thought they were being punished, so they'd start increasing sacrifices. And trade routes in between the city-states wasn't very good because there weren't any wheels, and the roads weren't paved like, say, in Rome, so a wheeled cart wouldn't help them, you know. So each city-state was like its own kingdom trying to survive. Now, they did make little empires, like the Mexicans made an empire out of the other city-states. They had them paying blood tribute to pay back the blood debt, that's what a dominant culture does. Now, it was kind of totalitarian. If you disobey, we'll sacrifice your daughter. It's your religious duty. And they all believed in the same religion. These were not alien religions. They all basically believed the same thing. So a lot of people willingly went up to those sacrificial altars on the tops of those temples to be executed or have their hearts cut out so they could go to heaven.
Man, I can't believe...
They were tough.
I can't imagine believing anything that strongly on faith that you would go up there and have your heart torn out.
Yeah. Going to heaven. Your time to go. You believed you were created by God, and that the blood in your body was borrowed. So it had to go back because you're starving other people of the prospect of life. So this is all for good things. This is all altruism. And we believe crazy shit like that too, you know. Altruism always is... Well, let's put it this way. Feelings of altruism are always used by the ruling class for their own power dynamics. I make you feel good about your sacrifice to me to keep me in power. I can only do it through stories. We do it today.
Yeah. Now, I will say, though, that altruism is a natural human phenomenon because other, apes and stuff like that have it as well. They also have it. Yeah, they also, apes also have a sense of fairness.
Yeah.
So it didn't come from nowhere. Other animals have it, too. But, yeah, it can absolutely be used.
You use it for part of your power
John Smith said, it was aliens.
Aliens. Yeah.
It's more fun to think it was aliens. It's more fun. I don't know. To me, it's just kind of I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't think that aliens exist. I'm sure they probably do. But the whole, like, you know, grays with the big heads and the big eyes and stuff that are coming here and anal probing people, that to me is, like, not super interesting. I don't know why. Because a lot of the stories seem to be, like, kind of the same. I don't even like horror movies where, like, it turns out to be aliens. I'm like, oh. You know what I mean? It's just kind of that. I don't know why. It's just, like, not really all that interesting. Even though I do think there are probably real aliens, but I don't think they look like the shit that you see in movies, though. And I always kind of got mad because I was kind of like, with that whole shit where people think, you know, the aliens built, like, the pyramids and all that kind of crap. I was like, dude, they weren't stupid back then. They figured it out. They didn't need aliens to do that. It's like, it seems like really insulting. I'm offended on their behalf.
Khan's in there trying to get me to talk about Pakal. Yeah. Pakal was Lord Pakal, or Lord Shield, or Great Shield, that's the translation of his name. And he was one of the Mayan city-state rulers. They found his tomb. That's the cover of his tomb. You had to dig down to get into it. The cover of it is that famous petroglyph of what people claim is a man flying a rocket into space.
Yeah, that's right.
That was
I think I wrote an article about that.
That was the cover of Lord Pakal's sarcophagus. That's not what that is, though. Everything in that glyph can be explained in religious terms of the Mesoamerican people. What it is it's the king entering into the afterlife. He's being launched into the spirit world. Yeah, all the stuff's there, and he's seeing the gods as he's going. That's what it is.
Sending you to heaven on a bottle rocket.
Yeah, he's going to heaven in a damn rocket.
He's gonna put you in like the t-shirt cannon, like they have at like fucking baseball games.
Yeah.
Shit. That's hilarious.
Colin's trying to get me to brag about his people. We were walking on the moon. The Americans were walking on the moon, but
not we, but like.
Well, I'm just saying, we were the Americans.
I didn't walk on the moon. I don't remember that.
But back in the day, the 1300s, 1400s, even further than that, the Mexican people were walking underground in the cenotes, deep miles, 10, 20 miles down. Most of it's filled with water now. Underground caves filled with water, but some of them aren't filled with water yet, and you'll find dudes, 4 or 5 of them dead, leaned up against the wall with fucking torches and their equipment. An expedition that went way down in there, man, 20 miles into those caves in total darkness with torches.
Like, hey, we wondered where these motherfuckers went to.
And they went down there to place somebody in death in there, into the underworld for some reason or another. When they were talking about Xibalba, the underworld, the Mexican hell, it was a physical place they went to, those caves. That's some wild shit. I don't have enough balls to fucking walk 20 miles into those caves, fucking basically on sandals.
Yeah,
in light clothing.
And I like caves.
And torches and flint. And hey, don't let the fire go out. You know what I mean?
Oh, we're fucked.
And that's what happened to those guys. The fire went out, and there's no way to come out. That's big shit, man. That would be harder than going to the moon back in those days. That would be the equivalent of a moon fucking shot. And what are they doing? They got a dead dude with them on a stretcher. They're trying to place him into a real good burial spot deep in Xibalba.
Let's go, Jorge.
Yeah, let's go. He must have been important. Either that or very dangerous.
It's like we're probably not even going to come up from
put that bitch deep into hell.
God damn it.
Yeah.
John Smith says, after The Descent, fuck caves and everything in them. Yeah, that movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like caves, but yeah, that movie was kind of like, ooh, that was super claustrophobic.
Think of how brave you had to be to do that in an era when you believed in demons and monsters, and you weren't quite sure what a cave was.
I mean, they must have been shitting a brick.
Yeah, because for them, a cave and hell was the same thing. Okay? So you're physically going to go into hell with this dead dude.
Tammy says, well, aren't they actually your people also, Tom? Because you're an honorary Mexican.
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah, kind of.
That's right. Kind of Islamic Mexican. Those are my people. I'm a representative of the Mexican people.
He's a white
I'm one of the few white Mexicans.
He's a white Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how far that's gonna get you.
Well, Khan's pretty white. He don't like me to say that because you know, he's like, no, man, I don't have any Spanish blood in me. And I'm looking at him and going, I don't know. Your sons all look like Johnny Depp to me. Yeah.
Kind of
no lie either. Khan of Atlan's got 2 sons in their 20s that look like Johnny Depp. They look like Hollywood stars. Last night he got fucking drunk, was sending me videos out in his fucking parents' backyard. And he's down, it's not really a yard, it's kind of like in Brazil. It's just a stone in the inside with a big swimming pool with all his good looking relatives, and they had a mariachi band in there.
Nice.
Yeah. And they're eating barbecue.
Were they playing Morrissey songs?
They should have been playing Morrissey songs. And he's sending me videos of himself, and he fucking pans over, look at him, and he's loaded with a damn beer, and says, "You drunk, aren't you?" He's like, yeah. Fucking.
Don't drink in social media, you guys.
Yeah, okay, look what he said. He said, yeah, Tom was a white-sicken.
That's what I was trying to say.
White-sicken, yeah.
He's a white-sicken.
It's true. Of course it's true. Con, want me to show him your house? Your parents' house, Con?
Well, don't show it if people don't, because some people are weird about that.
Yeah,
Kanavaton said, "Good times eating people and plundering."
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Okay.
Those were the days.
There's Con's house. There's Con's parents' house.
Man, that's
yeah,
that's really nice.
It's a Mexican paradise. Hold on.
That's really nice.
I'm trying to
Maybe we can move to Mexico. I heard it's really cheap to live there, right?
See, he got the band there and everything with his sister-in-law.
Why do you come here?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but yeah, there's a whole subculture of Mexican Smiths and Morrissey cover bands. They fucking love that shit down there.
There's Con.
And some of them are actually really good.
Con of Václav getting his drink on.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Everybody's wishing me happy birthday.
Yeah, I mean, it is your birthday. Man, you should
if we go to
Mannequins tonight, it's we just shouldn't have to pay.
Yeah, that's right. I should be free.
I mean, I'll pay, but you don't have to pay. Although I did buy you lunch and a cake.
Yeah, she got all kinds of Christmas presents today. Let's see what everybody's doing.
That's fucking funny. Sly says the Egyptians believed they would live after death, and they did. When when
you dug them up, you go, damn.
I mean, people still know, man, you can go to the fucking Med in New York and all their shit's right there. So, Right? That's a nice that's a nice pool.
Oh, yeah, it's nice. That's kind of like the places I used to live in Brazil. I was telling them, I said, man, it looks just like São Paulo, Brazil. Everybody's going, yeah, Con. Yeah, it's a beautiful pool, Tammy.
I've always kind of wanted a house with a pool, but then again, I kind of don't. I
it's
just
want
a lot
of money to keep up with it.
That's what I'm saying. I want to enjoy it, but I don't want to
And you see, we'd have to
maintain it.
We'd have to build it.
I mean, we have room in the yard, but I don't know. At our old neighborhood, the whole neighborhood had a pool, so you could go over there. Some of the houses had their own pools too, but you could go over there. And I only used it a few times because I was like, "Ew, there'll be children in there, gross." But so I always kind of wanted my own, but then I was just kind of well, I kind of don't, because then I'd have to take care of it, and I'm too lazy to do that kind of stuff. I'm not lazy in some ways, but it's that kind of stuff. If I had my druthers, I would rather live somewhere with no lawn, no bushes, no nothing, because it's I don't want to go outside and mow a lawn and trim hedges. Fuck that, Jesus Christ. I would rather just have nothing. I'd rather just all be rocks and stuff. Picture says until the Victorians ate them and then they were dead again, right? They found so many fucking mummies back then. They were just fucking mummies. They were tripping over the shit, and it's yeah, they ate them. They burned them for fuel. They were just laying around. They didn't really think that it was that big a deal. So Yeah, Kind of Awesome said, yeah, it's expensive. We built out in 87. Is it cheap to live down there? I've kind of thought about... I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to live in Mexico, or maybe. It'd be nice to live somewhere cheap, you know? I mean, up here it's okay, but it's kind of expensive. Just saying. I was watching this video the other day of like places like places that were like easiest to emigrate to, like countries, and Mexico was one of them. And there was kind of like a lot. I think Belize was on there. There were a couple other like Central American countries. I think Brazil was on there too, matter of fact. And then there were like some European ones like Sweden, Denmark I think was on there. Like, just that they weren't talking necessarily about how expensive it was to live, because Sweden and Denmark are a little bit expensive, but they were just talking about how easy it was, like, to live there, you know, or to move there if you were an American. Like, you didn't have to like jump all through all these hoops and everything like that. Victor says, I want to retire in Santiago, Chile. All right, well, I don't know if Tom's been there. I'll have to ask him, because I know, like, when he lived in Brazil, I know he's been to... I think he's been to Chile. I don't know if he's been to Santiago, though. Yeah, Kind of Awesome said for Americans is very cheap. Maybe someday. Although I'd really like to live somewhere cold. I'm tired of living in I'm tired of being hot.
Mexico would not be as humid as Florida. It's not as hot. I mean, temperatures can get high, but I don't think you have 100.
I mean, I guess it's a massive country, so I guess it would like depend on where it was.
Yeah, and certain places got real good airflow, where it's a fucking breeze a lot. Some of it's drier, more desert up north.
Have you been to Santiago?
Santiago, Chile? Yeah, I've been there.
Okay, because Victor said that he wanted to retire.
Santiago was beautiful when I was there in the 80s as a kid. It's a city of copper. Everything is fucking copper. And it never rains. High altitude, it never rains there. If you spit on the ground, it'll be there forever. They made a bunch of laws about that. They made a lot of laws about that.
Yeah,
you can't... Yeah, you got to keep it quiet. You got to keep everything clean. Nothing washes away. High altitude, and cacao leaves were legal. People were fucking drinking cacao leaves and fucking snorting cocaine to get acclimated to the high altitude. Now, I don't know if you could... It may not be that way anymore, but cocaine was legal.
Is it still?
Yeah, cocaine is like a fucking taboo subject here in the U.S., but in South America, with the exception of Brazil, most South American countries don't care, and it's not worth much.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was technically still legal, or at least decriminalized.
Yeah. Well, they don't have a big craving for it. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, it's just kind of like in Europe, because, well, not so much the UK, but other parts of Europe, where it's like, you know, they drink wine and shit like that, like when they're younger, so it's not like, ooh, I'm being all like fucking rebellious by like drinking and stuff. Like, nobody cares that much about it.
It's kind of considered to be medicine there. And, yeah, people will snort it, but I don't really think that they're addicted to it. Or if they are, I mean, so what? A little bit of it was like 5 cents.
Victor said it's super modern now. Santiago.
Santiago, yeah. Yeah, I also was in Uruguay. Montevideo. I think that was either Uruguay or Paraguay. I think that was Uruguay. And I've been to Paraguay also. I don't remember where it was. But I went to Uruguay and Paraguay. Never went to Argentina. But never went to Peru. There's not much there, though. I think they have some ruins there that people like to see.
Adriana says Jenny moved to Scotland. I've never been to Scotland. I've been to England and Wales, but I wanted to go to Scotland, but I never got up there. Adriana also says, as a Latin American, Buenos Aires looks beautiful, although the inflation in Argentina wouldn't make it as friendly to live in. And Victor says Montevideo looks nice too. Yeah, I mean, you know,
there's good food all throughout
just
there.
Looking for like options, you know, in case, like for some cheap ass shit in case I gotta like go move somewhere cheap. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Montevideo is Uruguay.
Yeah, Uruguay. Yeah.
Paraguay is Asuncion.
Yeah. I don't remember where I was. It wasn't one of the bigger cities.
Yeah, Victor said I just renewed my passport so I can get the fuck out of here at least for a little while. I probably need to... Yeah. I wonder how old mine is. I renewed it a while back, but I don't remember how many years ago that was. Because they're good for 10 years, I think.
Once you get to the south of Brazil and below, you're basically back in Europe. You do have what you would call indigenous or Indian type people, but they don't look very different from European people. At least nowadays. Some of them do, but most of them don't. On average, they look like people from Chile. Kind of. Chile, Uruguay, Montevideo, Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, they all kind of look like that. They're good-looking people. Tend to be kind of dark-haired, dark eyes, fair-skinned, a lot of them, range into medium-type skin. You just... they have what you would call genetic diversity. So they could look like anybody. But you go there and everybody looks familiar. In Brazil, I blended right in. A lot of people didn't believe that I was American. They thought I was putting on an accent and everything. No. So in Brazil, there was a lot of German and Irish immigration into the South. So you have a lot of Mick Henrys and McDouals and McDowells and in Argentina and Uruguay and Chile. You got Irish people there. You got Germans in there. You got a lot of Spanish names, mostly Spanish names. But it's a mix, kind of like the United States. Although if you go south, less African. Go north, a little bit more African, because they did have Africans move into places like Brazil. Not anywhere else though. Brazil was a place where there was a lot of, early on during when they had slavery, that was a place where you would send them, because there was just a lot of agriculture there. The rest of the country back in the rest of the continent back on those days, there wasn't really a whole lot going on there. It was pretty sparsely populated. They didn't need labor,
John Smith says, move to Albania, dirt cheap, will take anyone, and all the coke you can snort, allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm sold. Yeah, John Smith is talking about huge German population in Brazil for reasons. Yeah, we all.
Well, yeah, okay. It wasn't just the war. They were there before. They were there before the war too.
Yeah, but that's why everybody knows.
That's why you know it. But they were there before the war. They went there after the war because there were already Germans there as part of it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like the other. One of the countries they mentioned on there was Ireland, and I was like, I didn't realize, because like I said, this wasn't necessarily a video about where's like the cheapest to live. It was where's the easiest for an American, like how many, like you don't have to jump through as many hoops, like to emigrate there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they were talking about, so a lot of them were Central and South American. Like I said, Belize, there were a couple of other, Mexico, there were a couple other places there. But there were some European ones too, and I think Ireland was on there. And I think Canada was on there too, even though I've heard that it's a pain in the ass, like, to move to Canada.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's... Oh, one place that I saw that was, like, they said was super easy to move to was Mauritius, which they said, basically, all you need to do to move there is put $5,000 in a bank account, like, in that country, and then and fill out a form, and they'll let you in, which is crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. There's like videos like that like come up in my feed, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So it's like I was just like curious to see, because I remember like because I was married to a British person for a while, and he like came over here on a tourist visa, and then so after we got married, I had to go through the whole like immigration process, and it was a massive pain in the ass, and it takes and we didn't even have like the worst of it, because, and honestly, we even had somebody at what was then called the INS tell us, well, it's much easier for you guys because he's white and he speaks English. Like, had he not been white and not spoken English, this would have been a lot more difficult. And even then, it was a massive pain in the ass. And he even had to be here for 2 years on, like, you have to like have a provisional. Some countries have 5 years. U.S., at least back then, had 2 years. You had to be here, like, with a green card for 2 years. And you could have a job and shit, but you couldn't vote or you couldn't, like, do anything like that. And then if you wanted to apply for citizenship, you could. But yeah, it was a big pain in the ass. You had to like go and get like all kind of uncomfortable questions like asked you. You had to fill out like 40 bajillion forms. You had to like pay like, I don't even remember how much it was. It was a lot of money.
All right, John Smith asked a good question. You read that right there. It's at the end. There's 2 questions right there. John and Connor Voslan's questions are good.
John Smith said, I used to date a German Brazilian, and she was more German than anyone I met from the fatherland. That was the one thing.
She's more German than a German. Yeah. Yeah, one of the most German places in Brazil was a fucking place called Gramado. And it's in the south. It's a little bit... It's not. I don't know if it's in what I would call the south. If I remember, I think it was south. It was south of São Paulo. I've been there. They have a tourist trap there. They fantastic chocolate. But there's a German region down there. They were isolated. Okay, they didn't really integrate into Brazilian society at large, and the population kind of just intermarried with each other. Now, so it's kind of like a German colony. Now, I've heard recently that they all left, that they got sick of that, and that they just went to the United States or went into Brazil, and that they don't really do that anymore. But definitely the ones, the World War II veterans and their children, which had been the boomers, they stayed in there. But Gen X and everything, they all left. So they may not be there anymore. Now, Khan asked about, did
Hitler go to Argentina or did he kill himself? What do you think, Tom?
Yeah. I've looked at all those stories. There were a couple of them that really sound convincing. That fucking mustache man went to Argentina.
Mustache man.
I'm going to call him Mustache Man. But there's no concrete evidence. Okay. Knowing the totality of Mustache Man and his situation and what was going on inside of Germany in the final weeks, and what kind of guy he was, I think it's more likely he killed himself.
I think it is too.
It's a lot more likely. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Mustache Man was sick. All right. The Mustache Man you see fucking giving the speeches, and the one that the Germans knew, and then the Mustache Man that fucking in the final weeks of the war was totally different guy. They said he looked like he aged 50 years. He was pretty broken. His what do you call it? His not Tourette's syndrome. What do you call it when your hand shakes? Parkinson's. His Parkinson's had gotten real bad. He had a doctor named Dr. Morell who was just a quack, who was a syphilis doctor, which makes most people think that Mustache Man had tertiary or fucking late stage.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he probably... I mean, I thought that was...
Kind of, yeah. He had
thought most people probably thought that.
Syphilis, which makes you very rigid in your thinking. If you make a decision, you won't ever back off of it. It can make you kind of robotic, kind of lizard-like, and will kind of give you weird feelings of fucking being a little bit like out of body because your brain isn't working that well. So to treat him for that, basically what they did is they kept him jacked up on methamphetamine. From the minute he woke up, they injected him with meth. Then he couldn't sleep, so they'd knock him out with morphine. So he was a bad junkie in the final days. Though those drugs kept him fucking constipated. So he was blowing up. They said he had real bad gas, and he was a vegetarian and having real problems with his bowels.
So he was just a farting machine, is what you're saying?
Farting machine, and fucking, and he didn't feel good. This all started really when he lost all those men on the Eastern Front during the battle for Stalingrad. He asked Goring, should I bring them back? Because we probably can't really supply them out there. Can you supply them during the winter? And he goes, oh yeah, I can supply them during the winter, but no. The planes all got shot down. And like about 1 million men died out there. And he never really psychologically recovered. Then they hit him with all the drugs. And then all the drugs and was the beginning of, the final solution to the Jewish question. That phase happened. During that same phase, you started having Germans in the Mustache Man party start jumping ship and starting to run in the final months, too. A lot of that damage that he did was in the final 12 months, the last year, especially the very last 6 months. That's when a lot of the fucking really weird shit happened. He was fucking losing it. Drugs. Now, in his mind, there's no way he could allow himself to be captured by the Russians. He was gonna go down and take Germany with him, and all the Germans that believed in him went with him. Most of them. Okay. In the final weeks, you had SS dudes running around killing German civilians that were surrendering. That's what kind of place it was. He was ordering people to go out and blow up all the aqueducts and all the fucking water purification plants, all the power plants. There wasn't going to be a Germany after him. He was taking everything with him.
Like, it wasn't bad enough he was like a lunatic before, but then he went way off the rails.
He was fucking weird. But when you looked at the rest of the party, he was the moderate out of that party. Ernst Röhm was worse.
They were all
pretty bad.
They all sucked.
He was the moderate one out of what was there. So I always hear these people, well, if we kill this dude, then they'll be free, like we fucking kill Putin and they'll be free. A lot of times these are the moderates.
The problem though, it's never just one person.
It's never just one person. It's a whole system of them.
They always have like backups. Yeah. Because there's as crazy as like one person, and it's like a figurehead. Right. And I can understand like there's like, hey, this guy is our problem. Like I understand that, but he also has people that believe his bullshit, and if you kill him, then...
In the case of Mustache Man, it wasn't his bullshit. That bullshit was already there. He joined it. He didn't invent that party. He was a member. The other members in there, some of them were worse. Like Rome was worse. But then during the Night of the Long Knives, he killed Rome and all his supporters off. So it's different factions in there vying for power. Had they got rid of Hitler at that phase late in the war, they would have surrendered. Because probably who would have taken over probably would have been Göring, and then Göring would have surrendered. Probably. I don't think Heydrich. I don't think Reinhard Heydrich. He was really the main one. When you think of the stereotypical mustache man of the bent cross and all those fucking, war crimes and shit like that, it was Reinhard Heydrich, and also known as Heydrich the Hangman. He was the main one. All right. The rest of those dudes that were under Hitler were kind of just functionaries and guys of not real... It wasn't really much to them. They were just could have been anybody. Just suits, really, But Heydrich, Reinhard Heydrich, he was full on, That dude was he was a fucking stone cold killer. He probably would have replaced Hitler. He'd have been worse. He'd been worse because he was smarter than Hitler and a lot more competent. And the people were scared of him. Okay, they were real scared of him. And he was a lot younger. Younger, smarter, a lot more ruthless. So you got to be careful with assassinations. You assassinate one and the worst one.
Yeah, it's never just one person. Right. It's like always... I'm not saying that like one person doesn't deserve to get assassinated. I'm not saying that. But it's like... They always have like some people like that believe in their shit and like back them up. Yeah. And it's like, what happens if they get taken out? Then there's like a power vacuum, and then like you said, some worse motherfucker that was a supporter of them might get brought in there. So it's like you might be even a worse position than you were when you started. Yeah. Well, the whole supporting Mustache Man wouldn't have made a difference, because the problem wasn't Mustache Man. The problem was Nazis. Okay, that's what it was. It was an ideology. Nazis are a problem. It was an ideology. Yeah. And Mustache Man probably believed it one of the least. Actually, he didn't really believe it. It was just a way of getting in there and getting power and doing stuff.
Because there's a lot of stuff recorded of him kind of making fun of certain things that the Nazis believed in. Like, he didn't believe in the Anunnaki. He thought that was bullshit. They were using a lot of propaganda. But a guy like Reinhard Heydrich, he believed it. You know what I mean?
That's like what I mean. You gotta watch.
Yeah. It was like a religion. That's another thing.
You don't know, like, what dumb fuck is actually going to believe that and, like, take it to its, like, logical extreme.
Another thing that people think that this is because of the form of government. Well, it was fascism, or it was this and that. It was Nazism or communism. Nah, it didn't have anything to do with the form of government. It had to do with the dudes that were in control. That's the main thing. Like, communism fucking did a lot of fucked up shit. Mao was the worst one. But there were communist governments like in Czechoslovakia that were pretty good because the dudes in charge were sane and were actually trying to help the people. Other people like Stalin were just trying to kill enemies. So it always boils down not to the form of government, but who's in charge. Because it doesn't matter the form of government, because whoever's in charge breaks the rules of the government that they command anyway. So
well, they're just kind of doing what they want to do.
They're doing what they want to do.
So it's like, if that person is like a horrible person, then you're going to have a bad time. If that person's like an okay, decent person,
then you'd be a little bit better.
Then it'll be fine.
Now, the form of government is like a safeguard. Well, which one of these motherfuckers in charge? If he follows this form of government, it'll keep him in check. That's the American system, all right? Other forms of government are just, and even the American system, I would question, it's mostly just a facade, mostly. Most of it is oligarchy, you know. You have to have some kind of legal system to keep rulers in check. Most countries don't have it. I would say probably right now, fucking 95% of it, countries don't have it. Most rulers just do what they want. They make the law obey what they want to do. The laws are for you, not them. The form of government is for you, not them. And
I think that's been true.
That's
like,
basically
forever.
what it is. Right, yeah. Right. Let me go to the restaurant.
Sly says, so Valkyrie was based on real events. Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a real thing.
Yeah, they tried to assassinate him.
Yeah, that was... I mean, it's... I remember the movie was kind of dramatized, but that's based on real shit that happened.
And he got worse after that. Failed assassination, he got worse. He killed a bunch of people and became more ruthless, more paranoid. He doubled down. It'd been better just to defeat the system. Not so much go after a particular guy.
Because sometimes, because the thing about going after an individual person, like I said, it's never, especially in a situation like that, it's never just one person. It's always just kind of like a network of people that have these like fucked up beliefs. And it's like, so if you take one out, like I said, you cut one head off, it's just going to grow another one like a fucking, chimera or hydra or whatever the fuck. So it's like, that's going to happen. So they always have a support system. They always have people that believe in the same like bullshit that they believe. So taking out one person, as satisfying as that might be, is probably not going to help you, and actually might end up being worse in the long run. No, I mean, no telling but I'm just saying, like, largely, I just don't think it's a good idea, because you never know what's going to happen like after that. Danny Rowling says, the most German place in Brazil is that village that Joseph Mengele carried out his twin experiments, and to this day there's a bunch of twins running around that village, supposedly. Now I'm kind of interested in that. I've been wanting to do a show, like, I think somebody suggested it, like, a long time ago, that we do a show about... We've done a Nazis in the Occult show, but I wanted to do one that was, like, Nazis in South America, like that whole kind of thing, because that's a really interesting story. But I put it in the Patreon poll a couple times, but it never wins. So there you go. John Smits has signed off. He's gone to bed. So if you're still here, good night. Victor says, yeah, you're not really freeing them. The people support them until everything starts going to shit. Yeah. And the thing too is that even the worst fucking people have supporters, mind-bogglingly. And I think there's something of the sunk cost fallacy. If you supported somebody when they were just marginally shitty, and then they just got shittier and shittier and shittier, and then until it was just kind of this whole fucking shit show, and then you had to justify your support of them, so you have to keep doubling down, digging your heels in. So I kind of feel, because you don't want to admit that you were stupid or you were wrong or something like that, I think that's a big part of like human psychology. Once you've gotten so into, look, I've supported this guy for 2 years or 4 years or 6 years or whatever the hell it is, and it's like, and then then it turns out that this person is a dumpster fire, even though like most normal people saw that like a long time ago. But now that you're just like cluing into that, you don't want everybody thinking you're an idiot for like supporting them all this time. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, so in a lot of ways you kind of have to double down. It's a very, very common like psychological thing that people do, but unfortunately, but yeah, people do that. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, but I was going to finally come down and answer Con. The psychology of Mustache Man is that he couldn't be captured. And to be seen running, he was very honor-based. And because he was so sick, he knew it's only a matter of time. He basically ordered the destruction of Germany and the German people. And then he killed himself.
I'd been like, bitch, hey, I'm here too.
Right.
No.
Right. Well,
what the fuck gives you the right?
His friend Albert Spear had betrayed him by that time. He says, man, how are you giving these orders out?
Get the fuck over yourself.
Like,
you tiny little
There's
man.
going to be a Germany after the war. And he's like, no.
Yeah, sorry.
And fucking Spear was like, I got to go. And he's like, get out.
It's like, that's millions of people.
Yeah.
Many of which do not agree with you. Get the fuck out of here with that. You're fucking
He just didn't want to be...
I can't take it.
He was kind of lizard-like and not flexible. And he's like, the Russians are now in control of the country. And this is going to be Russia. And they're not Germans anymore. Wipe them out. They failed me. That's what he said. They failed me.
What a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's dead.
He was partly right. Half of it did kind of become like Russia, East Germany. The other half kind of became...
Well, for a time.
For a while.
Not like that
but it wasn't permanent. But, as far as Mustache Man was concerned, he didn't have much... He knew he was dying, so he was like, fuck it. I failed. They failed. He fucking threw the ultimate temper tantrum. I'm going home. Like little Cartman, I'm going home.
That's exactly what I think of.
Yeah.
Like, no atom of my being do I understand a single person on this earth of however many billion people, 7-8 billion people now. Why do you think that your stupid ass is so important that you can, like, wipe out, like, I'm gonna
answer the question why.
Oh, well, you know, of course.
I know, because I know the history. They had the problem of they had the problems of the Weimar Republic. Germany fucking was in total chaos. It got extremely poor. His party got in there. He helped fix the economy.
I know about that.
They pledged an allegiance to him. That's where all that shit started. Here's the thing. This was not politics. This is not a form of government. This was a religion. It was more like a religion.
I'm also not a fan of.
It was more like a religion. So you're talking about almost like a Jim Jones type situation.
Yeah. Again, not
That's
a fan.
That's what you're talking about.
Not a fan.
And so they had pledged an allegiances to him. He was their savior. They had all the trappings of religion, and he's buying into this. He's trying to save Germany, fatherland, and he's also in the cult. So it's exactly what it was. But a lot of countries are like that. A lot of communism was like that in certain ways for a while, and it was just Japan was like Imperial Japan was like that, worshiping of God Emperor and sacrificing your life for the motherland. It was a thing of the time.
Well, like I said,
and it's still kind of around.
It is. Well, humans are the same. I mean, so there's still, but honestly, like, just me, I don't know if it's just me, but it's like, that's why I never got the appeal of cults. I never got the appeal of anything like that. I'm like, I don't want some motherfucker telling me what to do. Piss off. You don't know me.
Germany, Japan, and to a certain extent, kind of like Russia, were civilization states. In other words, the state or the government itself was an ancient civilization, or considered itself to be an ancient civilization, kind of like ancient Egypt. The country, the population, and its leadership were all considered to be manifestations of the same thing, kind of like an ant colony. So when the ant colony was defeated, you know what I mean, it imploded. There wasn't. It was totalitarianism, and it was collectivism.
Well, like
there
I said,
was no individuality.
I understand that.
Right.
It's just like, from my point of view, to me,
You're an individualist.
I was just kind of like,
You're an individualist, and those civilizations did not promote individualism as you know it. That's a Western concept. And they weren't really Western. Not really.
Like I said, I don't like anybody
collectivism.
Whether I know them or whether I don't know them. I don't want no bitch telling me what to do.
All collectivism is dangerous. All of it. It's going to turn human beings into an ant colony, and when the ruler is not pleased, he destroys the colony. That kind of shit happens. Just wait.
Which, like I said, where the fuck do you get off? Oh, I'm going to kill like millions of people
that I
don't even fucking know.
You're the queen bee.
Get the fuck over yourself.
That's how they think.
Seriously, get the fuck over yourself.
It's mentality.
Actually, I say that to him. That's good advice for everybody. Every human on Earth, please get the fuck over yourself.
Yeah.
You're not that special.
Yeah.
Just like the second that you kind of think, hey, I'm going to wipe out a whole city or I'm going to whole thing because of some temper tantrum that I had, just check yourself. Just check yourself. You're not that special. You're just
Victor goes, wow, this sounds so familiar. Yes, it does sound familiar, doesn't it? There aren't any qualitative differences. They're mostly kind of quantitative differences.
Well, like I said, it's a human psychology thing.
Right.
Like I said, I understand it. I don't have that, but I understand it, though. But I think I don't have it because I'm just kind of like really cranky, and I don't like other people generally. So that might help.
You know what time it is, right? It's almost time to shut it down.
Oh my God, it's like 8:45.
We talked the night away. It looks like fucking everybody's been with us and had a good time. And we've been talking about Mustache Man and all kinds of shit. But look, I got to get out of here. Got to sober up some.
We got to go in a bit.
Got to dance. Got to go.
Somebody said we need to review the movie Rain of Fire.
Which one was that?
That was the dragon one, right?
I don't remember that one.
I remember that being pretty good. I think I saw it back in the old days. I don't remember when it came out, but maybe we'll get around to it one of these days. I promise. Mm-hmm. Dragon, axe. Okay. Tammy says, respect my authority.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I think of every time some motherfucker comes out and is just like, well, I'm gonna like kill all these people and blah blah blah. That's like exactly what I think of. I just think of Carmen. I'm like, oh, are you taking your ball and going home? All right.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Get the fuck over yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Thank you, Victor. Happy birthday, Tom. I'll try to make the show more often. I know you have to work and stuff like that. It's like we don't expect like people to show up. But yeah, so Sunday. Okay, we're gonna do like a movie review on Sunday. I don't know what movie we're gonna do yet because we'll have to watch something tomorrow. Now Sunday night we're probably going out too because
got another goth night.
We got Memento Mori Sunday night because it's like a holiday. But we will be here doing a movie review. I just don't know what it is yet. But thank you, everybody, for dropping by. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for celebrating Tom's birthday with us. And we're going to lay here and sober up for a little bit. And then we're going to go out to Mannequins.
I can drive.
And I could drive.
I could drive. How hard you?
He didn't even have his license, Lisa. But yeah, sorry, that was weird science. So anyway, I just like randomly quote some John Hughes movies. But yeah, so we'll be back on Sunday reviewing a movie. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by. Have a good weekend until we see you again. And good night.